till they couldn't skate no more. Office building line music. All right. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host and my wife. We're ready to do.
Yes, I am. I don't know anything else. Well, I am a lot of other things, but definitely your wife.
We are ready to do some podcasts, and find us everywhere you find podcasts. The official weapon of the show is
phone chair,
and the unofficial sport
bullet ball.
And bullet ball. Extreme. Lots of stuff to talk about because this episode is all about the things that you guys said. It's the feedback show. So all the stuff that y'all said is what we're gonna get into this episode. We had, I think, 4 episodes this week, so there'll be plenty of stuff to talk about. I think the first thing we always do, though, is we like to shout out the people that gave us some money. Mm-hmm. You can do so by going to the blackguywhotips.com, looking on the right hand side, and you can go ahead and click on that little thing to say, hey, you want to put on this, you want to put something on it. You could go once a month, you can go any amount, you can go one time only. It's totally up to you. We give everybody a shout out for doing that. And before I even play that music for the shout outs, I do want to say shout out to everybody who signed up for our sale, for the annual coronavirus sale. I put out a video on our social media to thank everybody and to remind them it was the last day, and plenty of people did sign up, and we appreciate y'all. And it really helps us to stay independent, to stay, us, and and to have flexibility with the moves that we make as a business and as a podcast. So we appreciate y'all. All right, now let's do the shout outs.
May I have a reaction? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own with Rod and Aaron. We welcome the good folks who tied to the Blackout Tips.
That's right. New handouts, new shout outs. Let's talk about it. Chris from Hawaii, recurring donator. Tabitha M, recurring. All these people can recurring unless I say their name. Corey the Tickler, Alexis H, Marlon B. Yes, Marlon B. Wonga from Down Under. Good day, mate. Tanya S, Dotstra J, Charlotte Wong Esquire. I always say that Esquire. She earned it. Tiffany B, Palmetto Stone the Magic, Alfonso M, and lastly, J Full. We appreciate everybody took the time out to throw a little scratch our way. It helps so much. All right. 5-star reviews. I believe we got some.
Let's go.
Now, as always, I always forget which ones I already did, because it's just some of these they actually report to us late.
Yeah, they do.
So I don't even know, if we did them already, and sometimes it's been a week and I forgot.
That
so I'm gonna read some and possibly read them twice.
We don't care.
Okay, just letting people know. Y'all might have to wait a few days at a time for these disses. LOL. This from Robert from America, who says diss drops. Oh wait, I just came to write. As soon as I listen to one of the episodes, the next diss drops. As soon as I started the latest episode, Drake drops. Thank you for breaking it down, though. Appreciate y'all. You welcome, fam. Yeah, I think they just giving it to us late because it says it's on the 5th, which is 13 days ago, but I don't remember reading that. The 6th. Oh my God, so funny. Long time listener. They're very funny and interact with many loyal listeners a lot. Finally writing a review after reactivating my long abandoned iTunes account. Rod and Karen are really funny and insightful and cover a lot of pop culture and political news. I especially appreciate their regular segment of LGBTQ news. Thank you, Landorf. And the diss is kind of sidetracked LGBTQ news, but I was saving some articles today, so we'll definitely be covering it coming up this next week.
Okay.
Been meaning to sub. This from TSR95, who just says Bomani sent me. Oh snap! Shout out to the homie.
Shout out to Bo.
We love to see it. Love to see it. Finally, DJ from SC says, man, I've been listening to and been a premium subscriber for the Black Guy Who Tips well over 10 years now. Oh my God.
We've been premium for 10 years, nigga.
It don't even seem real. Or maybe he said listening, but he did say listening.
Okay.
So you been listening for over 10 years.
Okay, I about to say
I don't think we've been premium 10. Not yet. And I'm just leaving a 5-star review. What is up with that? Just got an iPhone. That's what's up. LOL. Well, hey, you never late if you're on time. You know
Ain't that the truth? You're on time, baby.
Anyway, far and the best podcast out there. Don't try to debate me. My oldest child, 21, was riding with me, and my 4-year-old, the mini Karen, with the oh no and oh no impressionist. And I was playing the pod, of course. She said, you still listen to this? I remember them from when I was in elementary school. Oh. Anyway, I thought that was cute and wanted to share. Not to deify y'all or make it weird, but y'all do great work and we appreciate the genuine content. I would say keep it up. Ain't no quitting, y'all. And all that. Wow, that's why we love you. P.S. You can leave this out from feedback. Okay. Oh, okay. I can try. I can leave this in the feedback. It's no problem.
Oh, no problem.
He requested could we get Chris and D Palm on to talk X-Men 97. Which I can always reach out to them, see what we can do.
They would love it.
And that is crazy. And I love that people now, their kids have grown up hearing us, and the kids are getting grown.
We've been doing this enough for a whole generation to be raised.
Yeah. So people said some really sweet things and stuff over the last few days. And, people have been saying which is always the funny effect of the people that don't like something or share some unkind words, is that there's a lot of people that do love the show and have listened and have a more holistic understanding of what we do and how long we've been doing it. And they come out of the woodwork to be like, hey, this is what y'all mean to me. Like, this person might not like it, but I remember sleeping on a mattress in my apartment, and the mattress is on the floor, and y'all were the first people I ever listened to in my old apartment. And now, I'm this and this, and y'all were the soundtrack to a lot of those things in my life. And that means a lot to us.
Yeah, it does. The thing is, we just try our best to be ourselves. And I appreciate people just listening and enjoying the things that we're putting out into the world, and consuming them however they want to consume them, because we meet people at different periods of their lives. And people tell us, hey, y'all help me get a degree, or y'all help me get my doctorate, or y'all help me do all this stuff. And it's one of those things where life is a lot, and if we could be a slice of sunshine, I appreciate that.
Yep, I agree. And then the next one is from News SW, I think. Anyway, it's from Educate to Free Us. Okay. The Blackout Tips is a great podcast from Educate to Free Us. Rod and Karen is funny with great commentary. I love Karen's oh no reaction when Rod mentions someone. Most of the times my reaction is the same as Karen. I don't know them people either. As a new podcaster, I'm learning a lot from y'all. I'm catching up on all the episodes. I'm a week late, but I said I was going to give a 5-star review. Can I get my yay back from Karen?
Yay! Welcome to the club. And I tell everybody this when they first leave us 5-star reviews. You know what you can do? Turn around and judge everybody else like you've been here the whole time. See, that's the trick. Once you join, you're no longer judged. You can turn around and look at other people, even though you just stepped in the door, and be like, shame on you. That's the fun part of the club. You can shame everybody else.
Yeah, it's like when a big person just loses weight, or when somebody that used to be like hoe his life gets married, and then they just suddenly become like either a church lady or a fat shamer. Just do that, like, hey, I just joined. I just left my 5-star review. The rest of y'all should be ashamed of y'all damn selves.
Should be ashamed of yourself. Pay your tithes and offering.
We appreciate that type of peer pressure on our audience. We like the 5-star reviews.
Family members, they sit beside you right now. Check them and be sure they listen. Talking about, I love when you play this for me. Go, did you leave them a 5-star review? We'll take that. We'll take that tithes and offering too.
Bad Motors 1 says, this is how you do it, except one listener. This is one of the best podcasts going. Rod and Karen have a great chemistry. Obviously married, cuff sets, swing sets with the jam. They offer great insight. They offer great insights into the stories of the day. They're funny, but it ain't all jokes. You will learn things, and they're not stingy either. Long shows with dope music. I don't know who Appia is, but he, she, they can give it a rest. We get it. You're better than us. Take a cool down lap. Jesus,
what Appia do to you?
What Appia do? Appia caught it straight.
For no
What?
reason.
What? That was going so well. I was like, oh wow, this person gets it. And it was like, hey, Appia, damn, Jesus, we get it. And you know how Appia brain work? She's not gonna be able to be like, all right, let me chill out. Now she's gonna triple respond.
She gonna sit down and get in her head. Yeah.
You just made it worse for your. You made it. If you don't like what Appia is doing, you made it worse by making a big deal out of it. She can't help it but try to like go in and say something now. Jesus, man, y'all gotta work on that. What was that? Anyway, ending the 5-star reviews on a very awkward, weird note. Appia's live in the chat, by the way.
Appia took us straight for no reason.
You not even live in the chat shooting strays at Appia like this. Appia support us. She in Germany right now listening live. I don't know what fucking time it is in Germany. It's probably like fucking midnight.
I told you.
It's
tomorrow.
Yeah, she got up to just come hang out with us, and you just shitted on her for no reason.
She out there with Wonka somewhere in the future.
Oh my God. Anyway, let me play a beat so we can get everything back together.
Psycho.
Music.
I had to let that play a little bit. I like that. That beat flip was good. All right, episode 2901, the catch up crew, was our feedback episode. And we got 2 comments on our website from it. And the first one is from the aforementioned Appia.
you know she's going to be the number 1 commenter.
Right. That's come on, man. Let me just say this. We do give some of our people jokes and stuff when they write in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's out of a place of love for the fact that,
yes,
you know, we build a rapport with people back and forth. I will say that. So the thing I want to say though is we're very appreciative of the people that leave feedback, especially the people that leave consistent feedback, because one, is hard to do.
Yeah.
We put out a lot of shows.
And we do.
People don't have to listen to all this shit. And sometimes, you know, people listen. I'd say 99% of the people listening to our show will probably never leave us a comment, let us know anything, which is fine. This isn't me complaining. What I'm saying is some people go out of the way to leave comments, and that actually helps us because 1, lets us know that what we're saying is being heard.
Yes.
2, a lot of times they address things or bring up stuff that is relevant to the audience, relevant to other people that have questions who listen,
right?
Other points of view and stuff. And especially the people that are respectful and funny and stuff like that. I appreciate it.
Me too.
And we do kind of get to learn and know their idiosyncrasies over the time that they come and count and go. You know, this is it's for seasons. Some people listen and they respond for a while, and then they keep listening, but they stop responding, or they stop listening and they stop responding. You know, it just happens. We've been doing this a long time. So, you know, we're appreciative of all the people that take the time out. There's certain names you see and you just know, like, oh yeah, they're gonna leave feedback this week, you know. And so we get to know them and they get to know us. So, you know, and we do, and this will always be true, we will always have jokes. So
you know,
we gonna clown Appia, we're gonna clown EVE. It's not out of a mean place, but out of a place of love, of like, hey, you know, they clown us a little bit. EVE gonna tell me something about Arby's or some shit,
you know it,
and I'm gonna say something back. You know, it's so those that get the vibes. So hopefully even that review people understand. Hopefully that's in that same spirit, because like I said, I feel definitely be supporting my writing.
Yes. Oh, and just so you know, I don't know what's happening, but they were saying when you played the music, they couldn't hear it in the chat.
Oh, they couldn't hear the music? Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
I don't know. I just think you know.
Oh my God, man. Oh my God, what the fuck is going on?
They said we were just bobbing our heads.
I do not.
They were here on the recording though.
This website, it be fine, and then it don't be fine. Let me quick. I'm sorry. Let me check one thing real quick, guys. Yeah, that's studio sound. I don't even know what the fuck studio. What does studio sound mean?
I have no idea.
Studio or upgraded stage, man. Studio sound. Okay, let me see if studio sound. If this fixes. Turn it on. Okay, I just turned on studio sound. Now you guys let me. So y'all heard the warm up music before when I was playing music in the chat when I was warming up and playing like Nas and all this shit. Y'all heard that or no?
I don't know, but whenever you was playing like the
I know what you're saying now. I'm just asking the question.
Oh, I don't know. Did y'all hear
Chat
that?
room, let me know if y'all
Yeah.
heard the music when I was starting the
With the
show.
music.
But can y'all hear this?
Okay. Can y'all hear this? Like what Roger's playing right now?
Okay, so they said they heard the warm up music.
Yeah.
And they can hear this music now, I guess.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, that was. I guess the studio sound is a brand new thing that I guess it's a brand new thing. They just switched on me, dog. They didn't say shit. They just
ain't
changed
nothing about
stuff.
the studio style.
So now I gotta remember to click that button every day. All right. Anyway, let's. Here we go. Abia says the music I listened to in the last year is mostly ambient. I imagine how my favorite ambient artist could start a beef with music that only sounds with no words. La 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 la, but make it directed at another artist. Now I want it. Who is the ruler of relaxation? I think if you're an ambient artist and you want to beef with another artist, you just have to put in the title of the song. So you can make the ambient music, but it just need to be like fuck, this other DJ. And then people be like, oh, you heard that song? Fuck so and so. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a diss ambient song. Yeah. The vibes was different.
Yeah, and the audience gonna be different. They be like, I made 2 million people go to sleep. How many people you made go to sleep?
Right.
Like the audience gonna be different.
EV says, I really wish Kendrick would drop more songs because it would be funny as hell. Aubrey had this coming after all the sneak dissing he's been doing over the years. He's gonna have to ride this L till the wheels fall off. I definitely want to hear them other 5 songs for sure. Now me personally as a petty person, I would, if I was Kendrick, or I guess if I was me and I was Kendrick, kinda, I'd totally be willing to wait as long as this nigga to whenever he try to come back or try to put out some other shit about me.
Because he gonna want to come back as soon as possible.
But whenever he tries to say anything about me, subliminal or up front, I just drop the next track. And I don't give a fuck if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Just, yep, I'm still on your ass. I didn't forget, But I also do want to hear those other songs because it's Kendrick music. and I love Kendrick's music and we don't get enough of it. All right, let's check the comments on YouTube for this one. 3 comments. Truth Word Mesmer says, love the breakdown. I also noticed that Kendrick hasn't explicitly called him a pedophile. Kendrick compared him with Weinstein and Drake on the Hard 6. With Weinstein and on the Drake on the Hard 6 mistook him with Epstein. Correct me if I'm wrong, but although both Weinstein and Epstein are horrible people, the one difference between the two is the age of their victims. Yeah, Drake's Hard Part 6 is just such a sloppy response. I don't even know if he mistook it or if he was trying to say, I don't even know, dog. Like, what a terrible response. It just wasn't thought out well. Someone just put, hi, Aubrey, because I had said he must be the one leaving bad comments. And then someone, let's see, then in the H says, or the N in the H says, I enjoy y'all recapping your recap of the beef. As always, keep up the good work. Thank you. Appreciate you. Let's see what the poll was for this episode. It was, should Kendrick drop any more tracks on Drake? 66% of our audience says yes. 33% say no. And let's check the feedback on Spotify. And the poll says, damn, same percentage basically, 65-35. I am of as time has passed, I am completely satisfied if he doesn't drop another track, just because Not Like Us is going to bang forever.
Yeah, but it's a summer hit.
Yes, it's a smash hit forever. And I don't know, it's like, unless Drake keeps going, which he could, but I just can't imagine anything he does changing the narrative.
Right.
This is almost like the restraint of playing the big joker and being like, y'all, I got you. You set. You can't get 4 books. I don't even know what to tell you. You know, like, go ahead and play the rest of your cards if you want to, but we understand there's only 2 books left, and you know, you ain't won
and
none.
you ain't getting them.
So, yeah, I just feel like that. And for the Q&A, it was, thank you for all the feedback. Kisha says, you are welcome. You make good content worth commenting on. Thumbs up, smiley face. Philip says, thanks for the pods. Y'all are the best. Now shut y'all nice asses up and make some pods, niggas. Jane says, you're welcome. Keep up the good work. Raphael says, if I was in charge of the awards, I would have given y'all the best podcast in the world award just for the beef breakdown, continuing your awesomeness. Back to dancing to Not Like Us and LBBL.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's been me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting because podcast awards now are basically like all other award shows, so it's not really audience driven or merit driven. It's like you gotta pay to get your name mentioned, unless, you know, maybe if you're a huge podcast, which we aren't.
You get somebody
maybe
else.
they give you some type of recognition in that way, where it's
Right.
like, yo, we're just giving you the such and such of the year or such and such of the honoring your work.
It's not like it used to be. It's changed a lot.
But now it's like every podcast award that emails us is like, hey, do you want to give us $500 to be listed as possibly a nominee
to be
maybe that we might
kinda,
you might
sorta.
make the finals or you might not,
Right.
and the money is non-refundable.
Right. And then you look to see the people you're against, you be like, oh no, like a lot of and not in a bad way, but most of them are like network driven and have like big people behind them, and they're literally everywhere. So, you know, it's like, okay, why am I wasting my time?
What would be nice, or I think, and maybe someone else can do the research and let me know if I'm wrong, but my guess is we are definitely one of the first Black podcasts. Period. That part is not up for debate. I would guess we are probably also the longest running Black podcast at this point. And so it's the kind of thing where if we're ever going to get recognized for an award, it's probably going to have to be somebody that really gives a fuck about podcasting and Blackness and really is willing to do the research. And look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's someone else that's out there before us and more long running, and I'll find, and that's how we find out is, oh, that's how they got the award.
Right.
But
it never makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's kind of interesting. Like, we're like, I don't know. I feel like at some point we should be recognized on some list somewhere as a staple of Black podcasting. Now, look, maybe we didn't blow up enough. Maybe that's the issue. Is like, well, yeah, such and such got way more listeners than you, and if that's what it is, it's cool.
Yeah,
but they ain't been doing it 15 years. They
Right.
definitely ain't been doing it as consistent. They definitely, you know. So I just think, you know, I don't know. It's interesting our place in podcasting because. It's not the kind of thing I think about a lot or get bitter about or anything, but it's the kind of thing where I'm like, when they send me these award things, I'm not giving you $500 to tell me I'm a good podcast. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sure it does something for people's egos and shit, but honestly at this point, either you recognize the work we done and you want to go put a trophy on our man, or you don't.
Agreed.
Like, what the fuck we supposed to do? Coach Malik Bailey says, thank you, Rod and Karen. Every year gets better and better. Keep up the great work. And I think Apple did something with my 5-star reviews because I don't think y'all got them. I don't know. Now, if you do have certain cussing and words in them, and they're not like, you know,
and they won't
edited,
tell you it rejected it. You just won't get
sometimes it could be that. I don't know that's what you did. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking of some stuff that people have told us. All right, let's go to the next episode. Episode 2902. Mama on the beat, ho. This is fun. When I put out the YouTube video, I left in when I played They Not Like Us, and we was all rapping along to it, and people love that. Like, and I also have cut a smaller clip of just that part because people love those reaction videos, and I think I'll upload it to YouTube or something for y'all because I know people enjoy that stuff. All right, we had a lot of episodes. I mean, a lot of comments. 14 comments for this episode, and a lot of them on YouTube as well. Tanya W42 says, I missed the live show but caught the video replay on Crowdcast. Seeing Rod's mom jam to Not Like Us was fire. This is a longer comment from Alex. Okay, she said, call me Alexandria Pugh. That's the name I use on social media, aka my middle names. Okay.
The middle names?
She had a whole pen name and everything. Could have said anonymous. She was like, nah. I'm a long time listener but first time emailer. I apologize for this very long email, but I wanted to talk about two things: the TikTok teacher and your recent interaction with a listener, in quotes. My college roommate, now best friend, has a very gray area inappropriate relationship with her high school band director. Or had, okay. She would mention things like the band was really close to him and his wife and how some kids would go over their house. My brother was a drum major for his band for 3 years. I became close to his band director and wife as she was an English teacher in our school. Hearing my best friend's experience raised my ears whenever we talked about it. Well, long story short, towards the end of our freshman year, he was accused of inappropriate behavior and they wanted to use her as a character witness. I, her mom, family, and former classmates and current friends expressed our concern with her being a character witness. So I'm guessing the couple, the man that was accused of the teacher who was accused of inappropriate relationships was like, well, you could be my character witness. I've never done anything to you, and these other children must be lying. And you could tell everybody that I'm innocent since if I was messing with kids, I would have messed with you. Duh. Eventually she declined, even though they pressed her like crazy to the point she almost had to block them, and he settled out of court. Yeah, which is funny because more than likely, even if she would have testified on his behalf, he still would have ended up settling out of court. So now you just look like a person that tried to defend this person that's accused of inappropriate stuff with children.
Agreed.
It's also interesting there too, because we'll probably talk about this on the show next week, but I saw Kevin Spacey was being defended by like Sharon Stone and Liam Neeson, who were talking about how great an actor he was and how he needs to come back. And I just kept thinking like, why now? Why him?
Who is asking for this?
Yeah, like he clearly is out of it. He clearly is fucked up. He's been accused of many improprieties with young men and shit like this, and other actors who are like, no, he did do this shit to me and it wasn't right. What I don't even understand that mentality. You aren't those people who are accusing them, so you don't really know. And just being like, but he's a great actor, we know that,
right?
But
we know that.
Well, this idea that like someone being a horrible person or doing horrible stuff to people is just secondary to their talent is that's one of the main problems we have with shit. It's just, okay, but they're super talented. Okay, and like this motherfucker's being accused of sexual assault at this point multiple times. Who the fuck cares if I don't give a fuck how talented he is.
Agreed.
They never spoke again. The teacher and the girl who he wanted to testify on his behalf. I told her while she thought everything was fine and dandy, there was a clear power structure at play, and his behavior can be seen as or assumed inappropriate.
Correct, because he's the adult in charge.
Also, I think the fact that they never spoke again tells you something, man. Like all this, we're best friends, we're da-da-da-da. Some kids, maybe. Some relationships with some teachers, maybe. But also, that's when it became a job, because whatever happened, I'm sure part of the whether it was the settlement or whether it was the school, something was like, stop having these relationships with these children.
Right, it's inappropriate.
Period. And let's say, for the sake of argument, that he's actually 100% innocent and he's never done anything to any of these kids, and some kid just accused him of something he didn't do. That's also a hazard of crossing these boundaries in the gray areas with kids, because you don't, like, one of the arguments I keep seeing is people being like, well, some of these kids come from these really bad situations, and these relationships with these teachers are like replacing the bad relationships that they come from in their homes and stuff like that, which maybe is true, but it also lends itself to another kind of weirdly gray area of, you're not that person, you're not that parent, you're not that, you're a teacher, they're not gonna have you in a year, whatever. But most importantly, that kid may not have positive or healthy relationships, so they may not understand the boundaries, and then you're kind of keeping it unprofessional or quasi-professional, let's say, and turning it into like, okay, we're doing some other stuff in here that might not necessarily be school related, or it may actually cross the boundaries from not only not school related, but into personal type stuff that we do for our friends and our family members. I can see how that would even be confusing for a kid. Like, this is not about accusing anyone of anything inappropriate. This is just more like, there's a lot of moving factors here, and I think what happens is people cherry pick one or the other, and then they just ride super hard. And where I'm just going, I can see how the potential for a lot of stuff is right here, and I can see why a school in a professional environment would be like, we should either nip this in the bud, or at very least stop putting it on social media.
Yeah, and a lot of schools and school systems have rules and regulations on what you can and cannot do. Sometimes, a lot of times they do. And so it also is one of those things where there are children in these situations that these people are talking about that have fond memories, that have teachers that impacted them that didn't do some of these things. They're like, yeah, this teacher changed my life, but you know what? They interacted with me within school hours. They didn't do anything outside of that. Like, you know, I didn't go over their house. Like, you know what I'm saying? But the teacher still had an impact on their lives.
I totally agree. And that's something that I haven't seen many people mention, is like, and like I said, this is what I like to call a Facebook meme.
Yes.
It's the kind of thing where you see it and we have to project so much onto it, and we end up really just arguing our projections and not necessarily what we're seeing. But it's not that people's projections are all not valid. It's just human nature. We don't have enough information, right?
Agreed.
But I didn't really see anybody bring up that, hey, there's teachers that we all remember that affected our lives, and it wasn't it didn't have to be it crossed the line into like, it was a very personal relationship where we were doing stuff that we would do with family members and friends. Some people were just really good fucking teachers. And it just made you be like, oh yeah, they taught me this thing. They gave me this speech. They let me stay after school to work in their classroom or something. It didn't necessarily become, and then I gave her a manicure. And that's I think the fact that people are not acknowledging that gray area could potentially be something bad,
right,
or lead to something bad, is weird to me, because especially with a man and young girls, I have never seen people be so willing to be trusting. It's almost like one of these thought exercises as opposed to real life, whereas I do wonder how they feel about it if it was just like a real life thing. And you have to hope that, you know, that cooler heads prevail. But anyway, when I saw the TikTok conversation, I was very sad that people defending his behavior, implying we're throwing away good teachers during a teacher shortage. The level of intimacy displayed in the original video and reaffirmed in his follow-up videos shows a clear inappropriate relationship between him and his students. Why did you create a space where minors not only feel comfortable texting you, but also have your personal number? Once again, the students might think everything is fine, but the teacher opened up a space for issues to occur. It hurts my heart that students are not being protected in a time of rampant teacher and student inappropriate conduct. There have been too many stories about middle school women teachers preying on their male students. We need to protect children during a time where their emotions are cloudy mess. I hate that things are now turning into social media arguments when there's a high level of complexity to the matter.
Yes, it is, and people act like when these situations happen, there's not a imbalance of power. There's not people taking advantage of the children. You know, and sometimes the children taking advantage of the teacher's niceness, and wanting to be like, okay, I want to be the quote unquote cool teacher, whatever it may be. And so, but it's up to that adult to realize that's what the child is doing, because you're still the adult in the situation, and nip that bullshit in the bud.
What I think is interesting is a couple points to add. He posted it on social media because he knew it would start an argument. I don't think other people might be able to separate that and argue the other shit. I can't. This is my problem with all the content creator at your professional environment jobs. And this is what I keep talking about: entertainment space values versus work values and stuff. It's the same thing with Lizzo and Megan Thee Stallion too, for me, where it's like entertainers are now being looked at through the lens of workplace rules. I'm not calling that good or bad. I'm noticing a change. If I was one of them entertainers, I'd start noticing that change too and switch up my motherfucking style, because I don't want to get dragged through the mud for shit that I thought was cool rock and roll, and it turns out it was abuse of power because someone, or it was allegedly abuse of power because someone perceived it as such. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but if someone, there's a ton of people that work on camera, that work with cameras, that would have loved to hang out with Megan Thee Stallion and been just fine with everything that person is alleging. And there's a ton of people that would be like, I'll see you in HR. I would err on the side of see you in HR. That's just how I would, handle my life. But yeah, so that's one. He posted it as content to argue. I cannot let that go.
And guess what? He reposted it.
No. So that's what I'm saying. He went live on Instagram. That's not really posting it as content, right?
Okay.
You're live. Whatever's happening is live. You can't like choose and whatever, right?
Okay.
And he noticed that it started a conversation in the IG live. He then took that content
that was
and posted it. Then he posted it
saying
for the purpose of, hey, I saw the conversation. So like the first one I can almost forgive, because like, oh, you didn't know, maybe this would have put you on to like, oh, this is inappropriate, or some people view this as crossing the line. Nigga, the next time you put it up was specifically because it crossed the line.
Right, and then you went and crossed into other platforms outside of just
Instagram. But everywhere you put it, even if you would have put it on Instagram, you still are putting it up now because explicitly I know this is a hot button topic.
Yes,
that's a content creator mindset.
Yes.
That's not a teacher mindset. It sounds like teaching becomes secondary to you if you can get a viral moment. That is, to me, no matter, and we're gonna read a lot of comments about this because people felt very strongly one way or the other, but to me, I'm trying to go to the places where I think people with logical common sense can agree to like, yeah, that is weird and unnecessary. And if he never does that, we're not talking about whether we lost a good teacher or not.
Right.
We wouldn't even be talking about it. We'd be like, yeah, because that, I just don't think you do that. The second thing I want to point out too, because she brought up how middle school women teachers are preying on the male students, and here's the thing. The girl students are being preyed upon, but it's not as big of news because we don't see it as salacious, and because of the way gender dynamics and privilege works and patriarchy works, we still are fighting that whole, man, them boys lucky that they're, we still fighting that bullshit that men say and that a lot of people assume.
Them little boys up too.
And I don't ever go down that road on this podcast. In addition to thinking it's a hack ass joke, like
right,
it was 1983. Get a new joke, but most importantly, I don't ever go down that road because there's this assumption that like a 15-year-old boy can't wait to have sex with a grown woman, can't wait, but it also is assuming that all 15-year-old girls are just like, oh, I'm so scared of sex. That's not true. And so the want to of the child shouldn't fucking matter,
right?
Because what happens is we go, well, no girl wants to have sex with a fucking adult, and all boys do. That's not true.
That is not true at all.
Some of the boys don't. Some of the girls don't. Some of the girls do. Some of the boys do.
Right.
The point is, they're not adults that can really truly make these long-term logical decisions.
Yes.
And shouldn't be with these older people that actually do know all the ramifications of this stuff, and they use the naivety of the kids to be like, oh yeah, so you 16 or whatever, that's fine. I don't even understand how y'all spent years thinking Drake was gross and weird and hating Leonardo DiCaprio, who dates 25-year-old women, and then people suddenly see shit like this and they're like, well, honestly, if some of the girls want to do it, like that's weird to me. And I'm not fussing at the person that wrote this. I know they know, but just in general, it don't even matter, male, female students or whatever. Just we talking adults and children. It's wrong,
right? And you have a lot of people that are female that have been placed in situations with older men. And a lot of them, if you talk to some of them, they will tell you that it was okay and it's not abuse. Even though, like you say, their mind is not fully developed, they will tell you they were making their own choices and their own decisions, and they will tell you there was nothing wrong and or inappropriate with that relationship. If you are 16 and somebody else is 21 or 25, there's a big difference in the emotional development there. And you as a child, you don't really know what you're talking about, but a lot of times society and people will trick children into thinking that they are adults and can make adult decisions, they can handle adult responsibility when they really don't know what they're talking about. And it's unfair because you have like these people, these adults, like you say, that would have been in a relationship, feel this way, but then turn around and look at Drake crazy and look at Leonardo crazy. But when people go, well, you were in a situation similar to this when you were, 18, whatever, you would say that's okay because whatever reason, you're an exception to the rule and you're so super goddamn mature. You're so mature.
Well, everyone thinks that shit at that age,
right?
Which is, why we can't really rely on the kid to tell us what is and isn't appropriate. Yeah, and we'll get into it. More people have stuff to say. Anyway, second, your interaction with a listener on Twitter really opened my eyes to people projecting their own thoughts on the strangers. To accuse you of bullying your wife and or harming her was alarming. When you genuinely asked for examples, they automatically went on defense mode, then made it seem like you were attacking them. Yeah, they did this thing I saw in a clip about Kendrick Lamar where this guy kept saying Kendrick Lamar was overrated in on a podcast. And so the host of the podcast, let me see if I can find the clip. Oh, nah, I'm not seeing it. But the host of the podcast was like, well, how is he over? Why do you say that? How is he overrated? And the guy just kept going, I can have an opinion. And he said, yeah, but I'm asking you for example. Like,
right.
Why are you saying that he's overrated? What's overrated about him? And the guy just kept being like, well, I mean, you trying to say I can say what I want to say. He's like, no one's saying you can't say it. I'm asking you to explain it.
Correct.
And that comes up in two ways. One, this person saying this stuff about me, I'm like, can I have an example? And it's just, well, I don't be listening. I don't have an exact example. Okay, cool. And then two, when people feel like that, you can't reason with those kind of people. They just, they have a vibe or whatever the fuck, and it turns into I can have an opinion, which no one was arguing that you couldn't have an opinion.
Right, nobody said that.
And then the third thing I put up is a lot of times with Karen, and I'm like this with everybody, if you say something and I don't understand, I'm going to always ask the person to elaborate. For an example, if that is challenging to you, if that is an attack to you, I'm just not for you. I'm not the kind of person you should be around, because I'm never gonna just sit here and just not understand, but just act like I understand. And just, like, honestly, when I do that, that's the real disrespect, is when you say some shit I don't understand and I'll be like, okay, and move the fuck on. That really means I don't respect you. I don't want to know how your mind thinks. I don't respect how your mind thinks, and I'm not gonna go there for you. So I try to be open-minded, to give everybody a chance to explain themselves. I try not to jump to conclusions. I don't do it to attack the people, but I do. And this also is a fucking talking podcast, nigga. They want to know what we think and how we got there.
Right.
What's the point of doing this show if it don't nobody understand? Anyway, sorry. People have been using therapy technology to justify their own preconceptions. The fact you broke down the running joke of the podcast and she dismissed it to imply you being mean to your wife was downright disingenuous and a bad faith take. Yeah, that's how I read it. That's actually what made me stop replying and delete everything I sent to her, because I was just like, oh, this person is cuckoo for cocoa nuts. Cocoa Puffs? Cocoa Puffs. To see many people within the community you all built defend you is heartwarming and shows there is hope in counterattacking negativity and callous behavior. Yeah, I'm glad that so many people that did speak up and say nice things, that really did feel good. I'm not even gonna lie about that. Yeah. But I deleted it because I don't want people piling on that woman, because honestly I could give a fuck about her. She got her opinion and she never has to listen again. Good for her. And also I didn't want people feeling like it was a call to the community to come
Right.
and support us and show us how much you love us. Now, look, back in the day, I feel like I would have either left something up like that or said some snarky stuff to her, to really tried to go at her, because, you know, I was less secure about our show and about our content and our entertainment and all this stuff. But that was just a different time for me. I'm not in that mode anymore, and it's everyone can perceive the show how they want. I don't get to control that.
No, you
and
do
they don't
not.
have to be accurate, and their reality isn't mine, and what they feel about me doesn't affect my reality. So, you know, and I will always bring up this example, but I'll have to shout out Lipstick Alley for that, because I used to search our show and see like, oh, who's talking about us, and one day I stumbled on the Lipstick Alley, and it was a long running thread that you know, a lot of the commentary was scathing to say the least, you know, and it really hurt my feelings at the time to be like, damn, I mean, we didn't put this out for people to feel this bad about us or to be this mean towards us. And then, you know, it just made me think like, yeah, but that's how some folks consume the content. They were still listening. Even the ones, you know, if they stopped listening, you know, that's cool too, but they found something in what we did, whether it was hating it or loving it, and that's for them to do. All we can do is put out what we feel is the best content and move on, and just understand it ain't for everybody, and they'll find somebody else to listen to or whatever. And, you know, also when I clicked on all the other threads for the other podcasts, they were shitting on them too, so I was like, shit, I don't know. I thought those podcasts was good too.
Yeah, and also the thing is, being a content creator, which people that don't create things and put it out in the world sometimes have a tendency not to understand. Once you put it out into the world, you have no control in how people consume it and how they perceive it and their comprehension of it. You just don't. You don't know what kind of frame of mind they're in, because we've had people who said, you know, I listened to a show at that time, I just went into the point of my life where I could listen, came back later on, and I could receive it. And it's one of those things where you got to be okay with that, and I'm cool with that, but you have to be okay with that. And also, I think because our minds tick very differently, you know, I'm like, don't care, you know, type of thing. But
yeah, but that's not true, Karen. You always say this, and I don't know if you're just trying to flex on me or what, but that's not true. You do care. You talk to me about it. You talk about it at on end. When we bring it up on the podcast, after the podcast, you come over and start talking to me about it again. Like, and another thought about that, you absolutely do care. You just don't want them to see that you care, and you don't waste any time responding directly to those people.
Agree, because they're not worth the time.
Right, but you do care.
Yes, I do care, but I also don't go searching for it too.
Yeah, I'm not searching for it. Okay, this is on our hashtag.
I mean, but like with that part, that's the part that I'm like, I don't care, because I'm not going and like searching for it. Like if it's something that appears in front of my eyes, that's completely different. If I'm just going around and you're like, well, boom, yes, I do have opinions about it, and I feel certain ways about it. But a lot of times when it comes to those things, I tell me funny, I don't really know y'all. So in order for me to want to engage in a good faith conversation, I actually need to have a rapport, and I don't feel like that with most people. I don't feel like, in my opinion, it's not worth the time and or the energy. I don't want to get down the rabbit hole to be like, oh, you crazy. I just assume whatever your opinion is your opinion. These are my opinions, and this is how I feel about it, and I feel good talking to you about it, getting my opinions about it, and just moving on. Like if I care enough, I would engage with you, but I don't care enough to have those engagements with most people, because with most people it is not worth the time. They feel a certain way, and there's nothing I can say and or do to change their opinion. A lot of times I feel a certain way, and there's nothing I can say and or do. There's nothing they can say and or do to change my opinion about it. Yes, you can have a conversation with people to cause people to change opinion, but I'm old. So a lot of times for me to want to have that conversation with you, I want to see your face. I like those type of conversations. But because of the society and the world we live in now, you really can't have those type of conversations. It's me reading your words, interpreting what I think you might meant. And so a lot of times, a lot of that shit is because of social media gets lost in translation. I don't see the inflection of your voice. I don't see your facial expressions. Like, there are certain things that you, in my opinion, that you need to have in real human conversation in order to get to the root, to the bottom of the cause of the things. And most people don't want to take the time to do that. They want to form opinions, come at you hard, and just be like, you're supposed to take this bullshit because society and social media and everybody tell me that I'm the most important person. My feelings are the one that matters. My reality is the one that matters. And consequences of my words or how I make you feel or any of this stuff be damned, because I am the most important person in my universe and I don't function well under that. So I just want to talk to you about it and keep it pushing than to have to deal with that mess, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Like, I was just, when you said don't care, I was just like, come on now. We done both sat up in here.
Yeah, I do care.
Yeah. Like, you have gone in. They just ain't seen it.
Correct.
So I know the hot fire furnace that is burning inside your Aries heart that they don't necessarily get to see.
Paul Roger, I be having the smoke, boy. I be steaming.
I get it out on the show, and then I'm like, I'm cool. I don't need to talk about it no more. And then Karen's like, well, now I want to talk about it. It's like, well, we talked. That was the time.
That was the time.
I don't want to ruin my lunch with the shit. I don't give a fuck anymore. I already called that person a scallywag, and I'm ready to move on. People have been using oh wait, I said that part. But yeah, once again, and the last thing with that person, it was ironic that at the end they were the one that was being condescending and talking reckless and all that shit. It was very ironic
because that's where they wanted to go.
Yeah.
Like I said, they wanted to pick a fight with you, nobody else but you, and didn't get to pick a fight with you. So when other people came along, they was like, well, I guess I'll deal with y'all, but I actually want to fight with Rod. And since Rod didn't want to fight me, because I think one person, they was like, well, I'm bored, I ain't got nothing else to do. I was like, yeah, because you wanted to fight and you didn't get a fight. Now you're disappointed. So now you're throwing fucking tomatoes going, fight me, fight me, fight me.
Yeah, this is very ironic.
Right.
Once again, apologies on the long email. I just got finished listening to your Mother's Day episode only to see the listener attack y'all's relationship and Rod's character. Also, this is before we even talked about it on the show. Have a great night, and I can't wait for all the episodes this week. Thank you. Let's see. Educate to Freya says, as an educator, I understand what's happening with this teacher and his students. Our kids need more than what the traditional white-facing school models give them. Not saying this specific setting is necessary for our children to learn better, but other models can work better for our kids. Okay.
Other teaching models.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Freedom school models are better suited for our kids, but it still doesn't fill the gaps. I don't know much about that. I think he has a typical relationship with his students, but social media is not the best place to display that relationship because people are projecting and very hypocritical. Recording it is not so bad, but live streaming it, I wouldn't, but I don't know his reasons. Maybe he paid them. I don't know. Okay, see, so now we're starting to get into some projection of our own right there, right? Like, aren't you at this point saying essentially where you're adding stuff that he hasn't said? So now we're making it well, maybe he paid the kids. Well, he didn't say that, and as much as he shares, it would be an odd thing for him not to say at this point, because you technically have said a lot of stuff, like, it's, I don't know, man. I think.
And also, they Bob and could point, I wouldn't do it. Right. You would not do that.
Yeah. Can't lose sight of that as well. However, if that was a famous rapper, singer, actor, society would not have a problem. That's because totally a lie. No, that's not true.
They're not teachers either.
No, that's not true. If a famous rapper, singer, or actor had kids braiding their hair on Instagram Live and then posted it to be like, I heard people thought this was inappropriate, and so I'm posting it to start a conversation.
That would be a problem. Yes, that would be a problem.
The crux of this Drake shit is not, no one knows that Drake has had sex with any underage girl, period, ever. This stuff is stuck to him for years because, and he is a famous rapper, singer, but he keeps kicking it with these young girls and then going on dates with them when they turn 18 and 19.
Right.
It does stick with them. The same thing for R. Kelly, for years stuck with him.
Yes, whole ass videos.
So, like, no, there's many times that I'm not even saying all the stuff that people think is inappropriate, but it does stick to famous people as well. There are famous people that date grown women. So like Leonardo DiCaprio being 40 something, 50 something and dating a 25-year-old, that stigma sticks with him.
Yes.
Hugh Hefner dating those 20 something year olds when he was fucking old as hell. It does stick with, like, it's a notable thing regardless of what your level of fame and success. Now the other part of this guy's priorities by making it content is to be famous. That is why you make this content. It wasn't educational content he was putting out necessarily. It was a lot of personality driven. The camera's on me. I once you start seeing the other videos, which I'm kind of surprised that we brought up those videos. I really thought that would be the end of it. But when you see the videos of the fat shaming stuff, when you see the videos about him ogling at 16-year-old girl's ass and pretending to be an emo boy, I thought that would be the end of the whole, like, well, I don't even think, well, why would anyone have a problem with this? I'm not trying to, I just don't even see how you cannot, how that wouldn't end it. It's the end of the school year. All final grades are already in for the year. There's no real instruction at this point. I've had to buy hair and help braid students' hair. I've given them clothes, soap, toothpaste, and other personal items. I think that's totally different, by the way. I don't like for students to touch my hair, but that's a black woman thing. But I think people are missing the relationship part of the whole thing. I bet his students perform well above average. Well, one of the reasons people are missing the relationship part is because social media doesn't have a relationship with you and those students.
Agreed.
So you posting them as content leads to people doing exactly what we're watching happen. So even in the best case scenario where everything is
on the up and up,
completely good intention and smart and well, and he's paying the kids and we just don't know it. And every positive aspect you can have on the sliding scale for this black man, because I know part of the reason that we're making the scale sliding is because it's a black male teacher and there's not many of them.
Yes.
And we would like to root for the black male teacher, period. And I just don't think you can divorce that from this conversation, because honestly, I think if this is a black woman teacher and all her teenage black male students were giving her a massage no black girls are in it, I think social media would destroy her.
Agreed.
So there's a privilege element to this, and that we feel we need these guys in the school. But we're making a lot of assumptions to make sure that it is a good thing he was doing. And he's not showing us these things. So you say, I bet his students perform well, maybe above average. How do you know?
Right,
you just assume that, and you have to put that in there to make it okay. The better my relationship with my students, the better they perform. The more I showed them my vulnerabilities, they were more open to me, especially about learning. Teachers need to cultivate their relationships with their kids, and it should not be transactional like jobs. We need more black male teachers so this won't look weird to the world. White women are the highest percentage of teachers teaching black kids, and black men are the lowest. Yeah, but honest to God, if y'all black people saw and I'm saying y'all on purpose to make a point, if y'all black people saw a white woman with little black girls combing her fucking hair,
they would have lost
y'all
would have
lost your motherfucking minds.
And y'all wouldn't have said it was okay. You wouldn't have said it was all right. You would have demanded that bitch be fired. You would have been like, no, bitch, what the fuck is this?
It would have been, and especially if she posted it like this started a conversation on Instagram.
Right.
We would have been like, then you gonna start a conversation at the unemployment line.
Agreed.
That's crazy.
You wouldn't have had this same defense.
But that's my belief. The more I show them, we need more black. White women are the highest percentage teacher. White teacher woman did something similar some years back and didn't get the same level of uproar. What was it? I need the specifics. Many of the proven inappropriate relationships with young students are white women. This happens to my high school. This happened in my high school. The teacher never went to jail. She actually had a child with the student, then remarried a white man and took that young man through hell. Okay, I don't see how that's necessarily relevant to this. This feels like the argument we make for a lot of times with inappropriate people within our own gender and marginalizations do stuff, and we say, well, white people find a way to get away with it. No,
it still don't make it.
It's
right.
still bad.
Right.
That was bad, and something should have happened to her. I don't think anyone would disagree, and it has nothing to do with this teacher. Didn't let the student see his child or nothing. No one suspected her of being inappropriate with students. I bring that up because society has trained us not to suspect them, but to suspect us. But this podcast ain't that. We do suspect them. So anyway, so sometimes we gotta check ourselves because people can be anti-black too without knowing it. Yeah, y'all not gonna make this an anti-black thing. No, I'm not. This show is not that show that is like, you can't trust these black people educating the kids. No, we ain't, and we're not. I'm not gonna be gaslit or tricked into that shit. I can look at that and go, that's a weird gray area, and it's very inappropriate to post that.
Yes, it is.
Without being like, that's because black men are this, like, because all black men are trash and he definitely had sex with them kids. I didn't say any of those things. Karen didn't say it. No listener said it. We're just saying it seems very inappropriate, and the priorities to post it seems to be the wrong priorities that I wouldn't want necessarily for a teacher.
Right. And also the person that wrote in, like I said, I'm going to harp on this again. You got enough common sense to know you would not post this. You would not post this. Now, I ain't trying to be funny. You know, and guess what? There's something within inside of you that says, I should not post this. That person didn't have that trigger inside of them to say not to record this and not to post this.
Right.
And that's the difference, and that's the problem. So it's like they did this. There were consequences behind their actions. There's no reason for you to have an internal feeling to defend them. But people, but in your letter, you're basically telling me, like I said, this is just my interpretation of what you're saying. We have a shortage of black male teachers. It's a racial thing. Why are we doing this brother like that?
Yep.
And that might not be what you're hearing, but that's what I'm hearing.
That's what I'm hearing too.
In the words that you are writing to us. If it's something different, please write us back so we can get a better understanding of what you're trying to say and or imply. But from your words, that's what I'm getting.
And I think the anti-black thing comes up if you're a person that would watch white people do this and not have a problem. I don't. I'm not those person. I don't think the people that have an issue with this. I think the least part of this is, well, the problem is that he's black. Because I guarantee if it's a white person, the people that are defending him wouldn't be defending him. That's the real thing. So like, I don't know if it's like the lowered expectations or whatever, or just the desperation for having that black male teacher influence or positive black male figures. But the fact that your response doesn't even bring up the ogling the 16-year-old, doesn't bring up the it's not my business when the other girl's getting called fat and all this shit, that it's you want something to be true, so you're just skipping over anything that doesn't jive with that, is how I feel. Brooklyn Shoebay says, the more I showed, this is a response, the more I showed my vulnerabilities, they were more open to me, especially about learning. Teachers need to cultivate relationships with their kids. It should not be transactional like jobs. This part right here, you call it vulnerability, I call it relatability, especially when you may be the only or only one of a few black educators a black child interacts with. Of course, you have to have some emotional boundaries because interacting with children who may have trauma on a constant basis could burn you out. Yeah, okay. Once again, I do wonder what happens if in these same scenarios where these kind of lines are blurred and then later there is actual abuse that is outed, I feel like none of these people will show up and be like, well, I was the one defending that kind of shit. Like, I was the one being like, well, this is what you need to be able to do to be a teacher. Because we know that happens, and we all agree that that's bad. But then when something in this gray area is happening, we're all like, well, we got to support it. And I'm like, I don't know that I have to. I'm okay being like, like I said, if it was my child and I signed a permission slip that they could be on TikTok, assuming, I'm going to tell you what I would have assumed, which is educational type content.
Yes.
If I looked up there and my child was, doing hair or whatever, I would probably be like, that is not, when I signed that is not what I was thinking.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I don't think I'm being super ridiculous about it. I've seen other people post content like that one dude that used to interview the kids on like at his daycare. He wasn't touching the kids, they weren't doing his hair, but he'd be like, tell them why, what do you think such and such is? And then they'd say something, and it was very cute and adorable and fun. It was served all the purposes of an influencer and all the purposes of relationship building with your kids. and it didn't have to cross into stuff where they were giving you manicures, pedicures, or doing your hair. I think this somehow has turned into like, and this is the only way to do it. There's nothing wrong with this. And I'm like, I can't really say that there's nothing wrong with this, because I would assume when parents sign that permission slip, this ain't what they was thinking.
I agree. And also, maybe the way I'm perceiving it too, yes, there is a smaller or low percentage of black male teachers, but there are black male teachers out here, y'all, that have been teaching for a very long time. And guess what? They're not doing this bullshit. So why is the standard low for them? Like, there are a lot of black male teachers that aren't doing these things. They're doing their job. They're educating. They're impacting students' lives and being there, but they're not doing this. So why is the standard lower for them and not the same standard for everybody else in the group?
I was agnostic about the hair aspect, said Sean. Made me feel as an educator that it was inappropriate. What made me feel it was inappropriate was the live streaming. Even if it was pre-recorded, it would have been uncomfortable, but without giving the students and parents the opportunity for truly informed consent with the myriad of issues Rod touched on about social pressures, it is completely unacceptable. As an educational manager, I have too many hats. I would not fire him for this, but would place strict restrictions and guidelines on what he could do within school grounds related to social media. That's, to me, seems like, and I think also because, and we still don't know if he got fired, right? I think people kept saying he was going to get fired, but it was Twitter.
Yeah,
he didn't even say he was getting fired in that video.
Right.
But anyway, I would assume there's something between, we have to fire this pedophile, which is how a lot of people on Twitter were acting, and nothing to see here, nothing wrong, keep posting your content, this is what we need black teachers to be doing. I think there's a middle ground where you pull this dude into an office and you say, hey man, maybe you cut down on the live streaming and the Instagram and then using the kids for your content. Okay, we saw a couple inappropriate posts on your stuff. We're assuming, like, did you know this girl was 16 when you posted that? He's gonna probably say no, whether he knew or not, right? I'm assuming he didn't know, trying to give him benefit of the doubt. Okay, this thing where the girl in the class is calling her big backed and all this shit, and you just sat up there and said not my business and didn't really step in and
you are
intervene.
the teacher in this situation.
You should have done something about that. Yes. Now look, maybe the discipline doesn't need to be live streamed, because maybe you shouldn't be fucking live streaming everything in your class. Yes. But the point being, you need to be more focused on class and less on the content. Okay? And I would assume the teachers, the school doesn't have the resources and time to review all this person's content before they post it. But this may have to be some type of policy or something that they have to start thinking about, because this is definitely a new reality, all this streaming shit. And so maybe somebody's gonna have to figure a way out to get some sort of guidelines around these rules, because the other part of this that no one's thinking about is all these people influence other people, by which I mean there's some influencer that's a little less scrupulous who's watching this and going, wow, he got a lot of clicks off of that. I'm gonna post my pedicures now. I'm gonna post the massage. I'm gonna post whatever, like my inappropriate thing in the gray area that'll get people talking, that is not really inappropriate, or is it? I can see a lot of that happening.
You have to nip that in the bud.
So you have to almost point, like you have to nip it in the bud early and be like, hey, no, we don't do that here. And I can't even imagine the other teachers and their feelings about some of the double standards of, whether it's an influencer teacher or just a person that does stuff like this, and you're like, well, why do they do stuff like that? How are they not in trouble? You know what I mean?
Yes, particularly if you're somebody that would go, this shit don't seem appropriate and it don't seem right. Why is this even allowed? Right. And so I can guarantee you, all across the country, particularly in the United States, a lot of schools are going to look at what is our policy for online, like what do we have permission slips? If we do, what do they say? Like, they're gonna start going through that shit. When they go back, possibly in August, they're gonna have like meetings and shit like this, and you can't do this, you can't do that.
By the way, all jobs need to start thinking about this.
Yes,
the internet and social media is here to stay, and everybody needs to start thinking about this shit. I don't like it when I look on fucking TikTok and see nurses dancing and shit, and niggas is on the ventilator in the background. It's like, hey man, what the fuck is happening?
I would be livid. Like,
it's just your content creation can't be life for everybody. Like if you're gonna live that life, go live that life. You know, but if you're gonna be content creating on the clock, you just gotta understand ramifications come with that. Appia says now even I listen to Not Like Us is a great song. Brooklyn Shoebase says, I enjoyed the show so much I had to watch on YouTube just to see your mom get a life to Not Like Us. Respectfully, Miss Morrow looks stunning, flawless skin, lipstick, popping glasses, fashionable as fuck, giving me motivation to keep exercising and stay hydrated so I can look like her when I'm super grown. Absolutely. My mom was telling us yesterday she do hot yoga 3 times a week.
Yes, she does.
She's like, y'all should come with me. I'm like, I'm not gonna pass out and die. Kendrick versus Drake is the gift that keeps on giving. I'm a public librarian. I work strictly with children and teens for 19 years until I was promoted to manager. With some kids, you develop a deeper bond, almost a parent-child relationship. Regardless of gender, middle schoolers don't get as much maternal, paternal, physical affection as they did when they were younger. And I think helping the teacher with their hair was akin to helping the dad shave or mom take out her hairpins. It's intimate but not sexual, if that makes sense. I think that can make sense. I think one of the things that is missing from that analysis is that these kids coming from the backgrounds they're coming from, if they're not getting that maternal, paternal, physical affection, another adult that is not a parent stepping in to give them physical affection is a gray area. How does the parent and mom feel about that? You know what I'm saying? Like
How
I
do
said,
the adults in their lives feel about
right.
that? Mm-hmm.
I understand it's intimate, and intimate doesn't always mean sexual, but it doesn't always not mean sexual.
Agreed.
So, and we know we live in a society that is very weird with those lines. And what happens is when we have these discussions, we like to separate. Like, no, we live in a perfect society now where everyone understands. We're talking about kids. Kids don't always understand. You know,
and some adults showing you that they don't understand themselves.
Yeah, and when he's saying even kids that aren't in his class, like I said, I paid attention to this shit. When he said kids that aren't even in his class, the other teachers will let those little girls out early so they can come over to his class and do his hair. That's to me, that's no longer this like, well, I just have developed very deep bonds with all these children,
and it's not like a social pressure.
That's
that
like
the
a weird
children have among themselves.
That's a weird
right?
gray area.
Yes, it is.
It's no longer the thing that we would like it to be. You know, maybe he has a super special bond with all the kids, regardless of what class they're in. But it just starts to feel like, I don't know, bro. And I really do wonder if the parents know that, because not all the parents, regardless of their relationship with their kids, want other adults providing the physical affection, as you put in there, in that way, especially when we're saying maternal, paternal, physical affection. Not everybody knows how or when to give that, or if they're giving that as well, and the kids don't necessarily know what's appropriate with those boundaries, so we're dependent on the adults to be the adults in there.
Yes, we are.
You know, sometimes you see a kid that needs something and you have to be like, I can't be the one to provide that.
Yes, let me go through the right channels.
There's some resources,
there's
some, but I can't be everything. But you know, anyway, I never asked my library kids to do anything for me beyond what could be deemed as appropriate. Of course.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. People talking, you go, I wouldn't do that. Right. So you know it's a problem. If you write up here and say, I wouldn't do that, you know it's a problem. It's something funky, weird. It's a gray area. A line has been crossed for you to specifically tell us this is not something I would not do myself.
I think the problem with this teacher is that he turned it into content. Also, as a side note, my kiddo has her own father figure at high school, and she and her friends spend after school time in his classroom because they like his company. He gives them fatherly wisdom. However, it is a 50-year age difference. Maybe this is all generational. No, I think that's totally fine. I don't think you'll find a single person that if you put a video of little kids hanging out, or just kids hanging out in a teacher's classroom after school, even if they're just hanging out, talking and not even doing any schoolwork, zero people will be like, this guy's a pedophile, get him off the school roster.
Right.
That's one of the reasons that I'm not giving well, it's a black man's excuse, because I'm like, no, that's not, y'all know that's not what people are reacting to. No, it's not anti-black. if those same girls were just in his classroom and they were just kicking it and he was just in there behind his desk doing whatever, 0 people are mad. 0.
Agreed.
So I think posting it is definitely, to me, the reason I point out posting it is because that's where I know even the people that are staunchly on his side will agree with me. Yeah, posting it was where he fucked up.
We can all agree on that.
Because we wouldn't even be arguing this shit if we didn't see it. That's why I'm concentrating on that. We go a step further down, I also think it's a weird gray area that whether you post it or not, parents and stuff will probably feel they could have issues about you allowing their child to do that. And I would not be mad at those parents for being like, I don't know you.
Right.
And I think this is not really something I would want my kid doing. And just because you allow them to do it doesn't mean I'm okay with it. And I wouldn't begrudge any parent that was like, cut that shit out. My kid's not doing your hair. She's not painting your nails. She's not doing your manicure or whatever the fuck. You know, this isn't y'all going out and everybody play softball together.
Yeah, my child is here to learn the fuck is this and why they're doing labor.
Or like I said, even if it's I can find reasons for even if it's labor. Like hey, we had a school car wash. Okay,
that's right.
I don't give a fuck.
Different.
Like y'all, you know that I know this is a kind of a gray area and it's different because of the touching. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're gonna turn me into a fucking weirdo. Like I'm tripping, but this is how a lot of times shit starts. When people start fucking with boundaries, and then they be like, and then now I look stupid. You know what? It's funny y'all bring this up too, because I was I watched that HBO Quiet on Set or something like that with Nickelodeon. And a lot of the stuff that started, they never started with stuff that was just blatant abuse. It all started with gray area stuff. What is happening is you can and one of the parents, this father, he felt so bad because his child was abused and he basically lost his contact with his child and everything because this coach came between him and his child, and the coach didn't start doing anything abusive until the father was basically out of the picture.
Right.
But the way they got the father out of the picture is because the coach was doing gray area shit, stuff that a parent's supposed to do. Oh, I'll drive the kid to the audition. Oh, he can stay at my house for the night or whatever. And it's like, it's not technically, it's a non-traditional workplace. He is the kid's coach. It's not technically anything abusive about him doing that stuff. And once the father was out of the picture, that's when the coach really started doing that kind of stuff and being like, I'm just helping the mom out.
Yeah, had more access to the child. Right.
And then the touching and all this type of inappropriate stuff starts. That's not necessarily sexual, but it is intimate. It's not necessarily abuse. And then, of course, the abuse starts, and it's like, I dread the feeling for the parent, the child, and everyone except for that coach, because there were steps that were happening the whole time that were gray area steps that you just would have felt like an asshole to stop in between your kid and their dream and be like, hey, I don't know this guy.
Yeah, let me do that.
You might not be able to go to the audition because I don't have time to take you, and you're not going to get this opportunity. You're going to hate me right now. But I'd rather do that than have this person who I don't know that well having you stay over their house for the night. I don't know them like that.
Right.
And I'm sure there are parents that did that and their kids probably resented them at the time. But maybe now they're going, therefore the grace of God go out, because that's sometimes what being a parent is. It's not always a clean line. And I think those parents that, and it's not their fault, but those parents that didn't step in probably will regret that for the rest of their lives, that they didn't trust, because in the documentary they do talk about how they felt uneasy, but they didn't trust, they talked themselves out of it because it's just gray area stuff.
Right.
Anyway, and once again, I'm not accusing this guy of abuse. I'm just saying I see why people see gray areas and tense up. Not to mention, many of us that are adults went through this stuff when we were kids. Many of us have been abused. Many of us have had inappropriate things happen with adults. Many of us have had the gray area stuff crossed. And so that informs some of the, when I look at this, I don't feel right. I'm not saying it makes it true, but it's like, this is why when we say it's projecting, some of the projections come from people that are like, but that was done to me.
Right. That's how it started.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine all of us have a story about inappropriate people that were older than us when we was coming up. Period. I would imagine 100% of us do. So I know for me, it was there was a guy that was a manager at Wendy's when I was 15 or 16, and I was I didn't have a license yet, and we had to go train at this other Wendy's. So they would drive us to like Huntersville and shit, and we'd all, the whole crew would be in a van, and I'd be listening to my motherfucking Common, they be listening to Biggie, and they ask to throw my tape in, and they get mad and give it back. Like, I was like, nigga, I didn't tell y'all listen to that shit. I like Common. Anyway, I remember one time they were dropping us off. It was at night because now we've worked all day, smelling like hamburgers. And I was like the last one to get dropped off this one particular night. And this dude's like, "Oh, you a big boy, ain't you? You kind of how?" And I'm like, "Nigga, I'm 16 or whatever because I work.
We work.
You're driving me to work,
right?
Because I'm not an adult." And I remember he like put his hand on my leg to be like, yeah, you kind of strong or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, this is my house right here. And I just got out. It wasn't even my house. I walked like another couple blocks to get home. I've never told my parents about this. Sorry, my mom's listening. It was just inappropriate. I did like tell him like, hey, I don't play like that or whatever, and just got out. I ended up, working that job. Nothing else inappropriate necessarily happened in that fashion. He would say flirty stuff with all the people there. He ended up dating one of the other managers there, who was like an openly gay dude. Well, I say openly gay. He was gay, but I guess he couldn't really be open at the time. Anyway, they broke up, and they had like a very tumultuous breakup that was really fucked up and shit. And the dude was crying at the manager he broke up with was crying at work and shit all the time, and he had a hard time because a lot of the dudes there were picking on him for being gay, and they would do all this mimicking his mannerisms and all this shit. I didn't participate in that stuff, not because I was like so woke and all that. I just always, there was something inside of me that always felt like that shit was inappropriate, even when I was a kid. I don't know why.
Why are we doing this, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm sure that on some level I've contributed to or made jokes about shit like that when I was a kid. I'm not, like I said, it's not some, because I said, brothers, listen. I just was like, this feels like we're bullying our manager. And he was our manager. So like making my manager cry at work to me at a job always felt weird. But the manager above him, the one that was inappropriate towards me, so I end up leaving the job or whatever, because school starts. I come back to get my last check. And one of the homies I used to work there, I won't say his name just because it's his business, but he wasn't there anymore. And the other homie was there when I came to get my last check and shit, and turned in my, my uniform, because God forbid I have a Wendy's shirt. You know how coveted those motherfuckers are.
Right.
And so the dude that I knew was like, yo, you heard what happened to blank? And I said, nah. And he's like, well, the manager, let's call him Scott. The manager, Scott, took this other dude to a hotel and gave him a bunch of wine coolers, tried to get him drunk and have sex with him, and the dude, who's like 16, basically escaped out of the window of the hotel and left. But they ended up firing the manager, and then the kid that was my age, stopped coming to work.
Right.
Now, once again, there was, with me, there was never a time that Scott really crossed the line into any level of like what I would consider assault. Matter of fact, it wasn't a hand on my leg, it was a hand on my shoulder, and he was saying, you kind of strong and all this shit. It never really, like, if I would have went to HR off that shit, would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we'll tell him to stop, or whatever. Like, it's just, and he could have easily been like, it's just a misunderstanding. I touched his shoulder. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess he's just homophobic or something. I wasn't trying to come on to him at all, blah, blah, blah. But the point being, once the stuff happened with Scott and this other dude, all of a sudden everybody got the fucking inappropriate gray area story of like, well, he was always doing this and always doing that. And so people's intuition is informed by a lot of that history, which we know is rampant in our society. So while I won't go as far as calling this dude whatever the shit people were saying on Twitter that I think is too far, I'm not gonna push back and be like, no, completely fine, what the fuck's wrong with y'all? Because I don't know this nigga, and he's the one that made the content out of it. We could easily be looking back and be like, oh yeah, absolutely, this shit was wrong. But it'll only be once something real fucked up happens that we even can have those thoughts without it being considered anti-black, whatever. I'm just saying I get it. All right. Evie says, love it when Mama Tips is on the show. It's so funny. This Kendrick versus Aubrey beef is on the scale that I've never seen before. Even the most known rap beefs like Nas versus Jay-Z are pretty much stay contained to hip-hop fans. I go as far to say that even the Biggie Tupac beef spilled over to the mainstream until they were both killed. But this has crossed musical genres, multiple media outlets, even in other countries. I just know Aubrey's stomach hurts. He's the laughing stock of the entire world right now. My friend who just got back from Italy said they were blasting BBL Drizzy over there. And you know what? I'm here for every single joke. Run them up because I'm messy and I'm not ashamed to admit it. The fact that the teacher can't see why those girls doing his hair in the classroom is inappropriate is probably why he shouldn't be a teacher. The power dynamics alone make this kind of weird. He's at work. It's the ones who label themselves the cool teacher is the ones you have to look out for. Yeah, the fact that one of his excuses was, I guess y'all never had a cool teacher.
Bitch, yes, I've had a cool teacher before.
Bro, what the fuck do that mean? What the fuck do that even mean?
All right.
You decided?
I mean, and you're a teacher, so the fuck you
And
care?
I've had a cool teacher before.
Yeah.
No, we didn't do his hair.
Right, and the thing is, all jokes aside, you're a teacher. You should not give a fuck about if the students think you're cool or not. Because you're in a place that a lot of them don't fucking want to be in. That they're out of obligation.
The job is not to be the cool teacher. The job is to be the teacher. Now, look, I'm not saying you can't be a cool teacher, but one, as an adult, we all know people that say they cool are 100% of the time never cool.
Right.
And then the second part of that is, I've had cool teachers before, and this is not the only way of being a cool teacher. You know, I've had the cool teacher that played basketball. We all had that teacher. Tommy D says, NPR was advertising a story that they were about to premiere about Texas oil lines and distribution. What do you think the background music for the ad was? Not like us. Even National Public Radio is throwing it out here. And DJ said, as Karen would say, oh no. PS Diva 95 says, old teacher here. I've teaching the fine arts department at middle and high school levels. I've got various reactions to the situation with the male teacher. And then she has 7 points. I should have known when we brought up a teacher, all the teachers was gonna have a lot of elaborate points because y'all are teachers, of course.
That's what
it's
y'all
well
do.
Organized, constructed arguments
all together.
Whether you're for or against, I haven't read an argument that I'm like, oh wow, they didn't think about that. Y'all thought about it.
You're gonna have commas, semicolons, like it's all gonna be in there.
Just because I don't agree don't mean y'all motherfuckers just put some shit together.
No, you're a teacher. That's what y'all do.
One, when I started teaching, we were told we were not allowed to teach our students privately because we could not make money off them. However, these TikTok teachers are monetizing the students. They absolutely
Which is really important.
2, there's some amazing educators that use TikTok to demonstrate standards in new ways, to act out skits about school using adults to encourage other educators. That's the other thing. We've all seen online teacher content. This is not I saw black man. Right. That's not what people are doing, because we've seen black men doing other corny shit like high fives and flips and shit when the kids each come in. I call it corny, but I'm sure it's cool to the kids and the teacher in that environment, and it's still professional. With it's fine. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Where it look like a fucking NBA starting lineup, and the motherfuckers like they just doing like, oh, and then this one we do this.
Yeah, so we know that there's content that teachers put out there that don't cross any of these lines.
Dog, I'm even on the side of the IG model teachers that I know for a fact just want to show us their cakes, and they like, this my outfit today. I'm teaching school, and I'm like, because you got a big ass, it's fine. I'm not one of these uptight motherfuckers.
All right, but you the only one in the pictures. A lot of times there's no students.
Yeah, but like once again, teacher content ain't the problem. So yeah, I'll feel you on that. 3, some like this guy show everything. What's understood in your classroom or school will very likely not be understood by the whole world. Much like Jurassic Park, they don't stop to think if they should post. They just post for content. They lack the wisdom to know what to share.
Right.
4, I've had some kids that I grew close to, kids and the families. I've had those kids help me take my braids out before my appointment because I really suck at it. This happened at lunch or after school. I did not record it. Definitely didn't post it. Still have bonds with those young adults to this day, some 15 to 20 years later. I totally think that is possible, and I think the fact that you didn't post it that's very helpful, and especially not posting it with the caption of like
very helpful.
Let's fight. You know what I mean? 5, this outrage from some has me questioning the role of gender in the situation. My male principal had a male student come out of class to cut his hair, posted on social media, no problems, no outrage. So I guess what I need to know, did the principal cut the student's hair, or did the student cut the principal's hair? Because I would need to know that. I would also need to know that they posted on social. So I have more questions about that. And gender definitely plays a role, but it's playing a double role here. And I think we need to acknowledge both sides of that role. On the one hand, it is the inherent male privilege of, here is a black man, we must protect him at all costs. We don't have very many black male teachers and role models, so there's a almost extended level of loyalty that he is giving, where, you know, as that person who wrote it earlier is like, maybe he's paying the kids, maybe it's because he has such a great, like, we're giving him a lot off of that. There's also the fact that there are girls only doing this guy's hair in this video, and with everything we know about patriarchy, about abuse, about grooming, and all of that stuff, it is very genderized. It is very sexual. If he technically had 5 boys doing his hair, there would still be outrage, but some of the outrage would just be homophobia.
Yes.
So like, gender is absolutely playing a role. I just don't think it's playing the role of just like swooping one way or swooping the other way. Some of it protects him and some of it damns him, you know? So like I said, I think if this was a woman letting girls take out her hair, you'd get some people mad, but it wouldn't be the same kind of mad, and it wouldn't be as many people mad, because that is a gendered thing. That is a thing where people feel more safe with, a girl taking out a woman's hair, we're going to assume there's no abuse there. Now, once again, why is that? Why do people feel that way? That is very informed by the societal context of how a lot of structured abuse happens, a lot of how privilege happens, a lot of who makes up the majority of predators. We single out that there are women who are predators, especially preying on young boys in school, but we also single them out because they are the vast minority of predators. It's like when we single out women who murder. Yes, a woman did murder somebody. But if we just made a TV show called Killing Women, it'll never run out of episodes.
Never.
You know what I mean? So like, there's some societal context that all this is in. 6, I know of a teacher that has a huge following. Everything is good until it ain't. Videos posted while wearing the school ID, district ID, school shirts, the whole 9. Questionable content, questionable situations, recorded during the school day instead of teaching. Tell kids that y'all got to do something. I got to put up some content. Check the FERPA list. Never check the FERPA list to see if children are listed on the do not post list for their pics and names. No problems until very recently. Now everything's being reviewed with a fine-tooth comb. Yep.
And that's the thing. Everybody's okay until it's not. And on top of that, a lot of this, like you say, there are children that parents are like, don't post my child, for various different reasons. A lot of times people don't take this into consideration. You have people that are running away from abusive relationships, and they don't want their mate to know where their child is, what school district their child is in, and shit like this. And you post their child, now all of a sudden they got to move. You know, people go through the extent of changing their names and all types of shit to get away from abuse. Like, nobody ever thinks about the shit that could go wrong until it goes wrong. Now all of a sudden you got the school system that's liable for being sued by basically breaking rules, because the parents are like, hey, don't post anything about my child online.
Right. And like I said, it's the internet, it's social media. There are really no rules, and it flips in a second. And that's one of the reasons that you cannot be so dedicated to that. Like, oh, I just need to make content out here. Okay, but it only take one time for the content to be crazy.
One time.
And even misunderstood. And now you're at a tornado that is all coming down on you, whether you meant well or not. 7, the teachers who are well seasoned are considered to be old fashioned and out of touch. Yeah, until your tail gets escorted off campus by police. I wanted to share that view from inside school. Love y'all. Thank you, PS Diva.
Right, and you're looking like, and see this one post shit. Yeah, you know, for a lot of teachers, it would not be surprising for a lot of teachers this, how can you say, hardens their conviction on, hey dog, this is why I don't do that bullshit. Like, for a lot of them, they're like, I don't do it, I don't post it, I'm not participating in it, because I don't want any of these problems unless it's something that the school is like directly involved in. I don't want to be a part of it. And like you say, a lot of those teachers are considered out of touch and shit like this, but they were like, hey dog, ain't nobody escorting me off of campus.
DJ says, love the episode. It's always a good time when Mama Tips is on. Happy belated Mother's Day. Reading some of the comments brought back memories of a teacher in grade school. I'll kind of get what Educate the Frills is saying about relating differently than what the model tells us, because my teacher in that school, all black, only one white, did treat us as a community. Some invited us, parents always included, to their homes for a cookout, the 3rd grade teacher to his wedding, and we attended most of their funerals when they passed. They were never inappropriate or called us friends. Even then, that professional boundary was still there. None of our teachers touched or as much as looked at us inappropriately. Most were older. I think the youngest was 30s. They actually were allowed to spank us. You couldn't even attend if your parents didn't sign off on that one, so place that where you will. Yeah, I grew up where in the South, and the principal is allowed to give you a spanking.
Yeah, and something
paddling, I believe.
And something important you said, that the students and teachers, like everybody was there.
The parents.
Yeah, the parents. And so the parents physically being there, that shit matters.
And yeah, they don't need, if the parents are there, this is also before streaming and social media, so they're not going to be upset to find out something on social media about their kid's face being attached to doing some teacher's hair, but also, once again, the professionalism, I think it does matter. Mm-hmm. The whole and we weren't touching kids, and we weren't, no one was looking at people inappropriately. Professionalism there's a reason for it,
right? Like,
it's not just some shit that just the white man put in place to fuck with us. Like, there is a reason that environments have HR, that environments have professional standards, that you all watch the fucking training video. There's a reason for it. Learning wise, I actually did better in this school than all the others, including the Catholic high school, all white, one black. Also, I had a 6th grade teacher assistant invite me and 2 others over to her home to bake bread from scratch. Again, she was always professional, no sense of weirdness, touching or a line cross, and you still had that teacher position wall up per se. We had a blast and went home. If it adds anything, she immigrated from Ecuador and also had a sense of, I'm strict, I'm the adult in this class, you are the student, we're not friends, but I'm part of your community, I'm here for you when you need me. Yeah, all that is fine and appropriate, and I think that's reasonable, and that's one of the reasons I'm not letting this story turn into so when a teacher tries to be nice, teachers have been nice,
right?
Teachers have done way more than they should. Teachers have opened their fucking homes to us as kids. We do know the difference. There is a difference between this teacher is so cool and this teacher is got me in a situation where I'm doing some inappropriate stuff or doing some gray area stuff that even as a kid I can't fully wrap my head around.
Right.
I mean, we all, that's the other thing. All of us had a crush on a teacher at some point. We kids. That's what kids do. You crush on your teacher. Hopefully you got a teacher that understands, well, this is a very professional space, and I don't want to confuse a kid into that stuff, and you're the one that has to be responsible for it because you're the adult.
Right. Years ago, I had a buddy of mine who used to substitute for the school systems, and she was substituting in one day, and she was saying one of the students were bold enough to come up and ask her for her telephone number. She said, "Little boy, if you don't get out my face, no." Mm-hmm. Yeah, and would just flat forward and straight with it go, "No, this is not appropriate. You need to get out my face."
I remember we had this teacher in high school or junior high, and she looked like Holly Berry. She was a black woman. She had the nice haircut and shit, and all the young black boys at the school were in love with her. It would have been crazy for her to let us do her hair or some shit. That would have been so irresponsible for her on that behalf, because it's just, you're the adult and you know what it was like to be a kid. The kids don't fucking know no better, you know? So it's just, you know, I think it's okay to have boundaries. That's okay. That's part of the job. Overall, I don't think the guy should have had the students touching him because the overall optics is bad, first off. Secondly, highly inappropriate to be calling them best friends. Just nope. And giving them personal numbers to just casually chat on whims. No siree. He can't move me with the tears on that. I'll say as an aside, if a student had a bad situation at home and has a teacher they've been talking to about it and takes their number in case ish hits the fan and they're only calling in that one emergency to get out because they're scared to call the police on their parents and themselves, and have no other family to call, I say okay to that. Rather, the kid has one adult they can call for help. I also don't agree with him recording or posting, making them content, then recording the crying and reading the text for additional content. That's fireable part to me. Yeah, I can't even imagine. Creation. I can't even imagine if you're the people that pulled him into the office to talk to him and then his first reaction is to go back on social media crying and shit. I can't, because clearly they had talked to him.
Yes,
that's why he made the video. But like, if he's in the video doing that, I don't know how I would trust this person to be able to actually just stick to doing their job.
Yes, and not your funny, who knows what was said in that? And if we had the conversation, I guarantee it would not be surprised if part of this conversation was like, stop fucking posting content. Some part of that conversation had to be that. Like, hey, dog, you got to stop posting content of your students. And you crying, posting the content, reading text that you got from the students. And they're going to be like, hey, who knows if he told them about those. So they're going to be like, hey, dog, nah. That's shit you should have told us, but you didn't tell us. You putting this online for content. We're finding out after the fact. I could see them, like you say, doing the route of, hey, let's sit down. Let's talk about this. Let's have a conversation. And you as an adult are not mature enough to take the chastisement, because my thing is either you a content creator or you're not in his situation, because his thing is I want to be a content creator, teacher second,
right? And
so if that's the case, go be a content creator,
right? But she goes on to say, or they go on to say, DJ goes on to say, you can be a cool teacher without all the mess he's doing. Miss Frizzle was a cool teacher, no hair touching, texting, personal phone required. Yeah, I also want to share this video that I think sums it up pretty well. You know, people can disagree, but I thought this was a good one. Let me know if you can't hear it, but I have the thing turned on, so you should be able to hear it.
Let us know, y'all.
But this person posted Ashton Crawley posted a synopsis about it.
We're asking the wrong questions, but the teacher was reportedly fired for having a group of girls take down his braids in class. We're watching this video and we're asking, are his intentions pure and is this too intimate? But those are the wrong questions to ask, because we can only answer them after somebody's been harmed. The questions we need to be asking are, what is being normalized by this interaction, and what feelings might this interaction be causing in the child? As a youth development professional, your intentions are irrelevant when you realize your job is to model behavior that can and should be replicated by other people in your position. So what is being normalized by this interaction is being live streamed, physical touch and proximity. And it's being normalized not only for the young people, but for everybody watching, and that's important. At best, this interaction creates a foundation for something called transference. Transference is when feelings and desires get projected from one person to another based on past relationships and unmet needs. Transference can create feelings for a kid that are inappropriate and unproductive for a teacher-student relationship. So a young person who has unmet needs for affection, attention, and validation might project feelings of admiration onto an adult who just introduced physical touch into their relationship. Right. That, in and of itself, makes a young person more vulnerable to harm when those inappropriate expectations aren't met. If those inappropriate expectations are met, or if they take those same boundaries into relationships with other adults. Inviting physical touch into a teacher-student relationship creates fertile ground for grooming. That's the process a predator uses to build trust and emotional connection with the young person they intend to manipulate, exploit, or harm. They might use attention, affection, guidance, and special treatment to fill an emotional need from a kid's life. Then they'll desensitize that young person to physical touch and sexual topics, starting small and building up. All the while, they're testing their boundaries to see how far they can push before a young person resists or someone speaks up. The entire time, there's plausible deniability. The point is to slowly push the boundaries and make everybody involved question whether or not their suspicions are warranted. The kid, the parents, the people around the kid. So if something doesn't feel right, but you just can't put your finger on why, or it doesn't seem like a big deal. If it seems like a gray area, but just not big enough to speak up about, that's the point. Making people question their own instincts means the victim and the audience are groomed or prepared for the next step. So how can you tell the difference between someone who's unknowingly creating the conditions where transference might occur and someone who is grooming a young person and the people around them for abuse? You can't. If you could, kids would be a lot safer. There are people who will say that this sort of interaction is necessary to build culturally responsive relationships in school.
Right, you can't.
Yeah. So I think he goes on for a little bit.
It's not. Cultural relevance and appropriateness come from the respect that teachers have for young people, the content they present, and the way they present that content in culturally responsive ways. There are 100 activities this teacher could have used to engage his entire class in culturally relevant bonding instead of having a handful of girls take down his braids. It would have been more effective, more inclusive, and help build their bonds toward one another in ways that are going to benefit their classroom. He had an appointment to make, so he put his needs first. So in this video, I see a teacher normalizing the idea that his students will provide care for him using physical touch. It provides no benefit to the student-teacher relationship that couldn't be achieved in more effective ways. And if we let it slide, it provides a much wider gray area for people who intend to harm kids. Couple that with the fact that he has another video where he answers the students' questions about whether he prefers a pretty face or a big butt. Another video where he comments on the girl's size. And another video where he shows that he can be alone with students for a prolonged period of time. And it feels like we're being led down a path of escalating inappropriateness and desensitization. It feels like young people are being taught to accept standards in an adult-child relationship that will put them at risk in the future. It feels like professional negligence or grooming. I can't tell which, but it doesn't matter. It's unacceptable.
And I think that it puts a button on that. I really don't know that it could be explained any simpler than that. And I think that's what a lot of us are feeling, even if we're not having the perfect words to summarize it all up. But the fact that it's an echo now. What the fuck? Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, there's nothing I can do about the echo at this moment. But yeah, but the fact that we don't know whether it's intentional or not. And the biggest point he made was the modeling behavior for other adults in their lives. So let's say you have good intentions and you're perfect and you would never cross any boundaries, even if the child wouldn't understand or would let you. You're still modeling behavior for these other other adults to come in and be like, okay, so there's a boundary this kid doesn't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
So and a teacher,
and they take advantage of that.
Part of the teacher's job is to be that role model that teaches you those things. So anyway, this one, hey y'all, name is important. I'm a long time listener and first time writer. I'm a Kansas resident. I accept all condolences. I think the main dude talked about in the article about Jackie Robinson's statue is Hispanic. His name is Ricky Alderete. Knowing what I know about Wichita, they were probably going to sell the scrap metal for money for meth. Well, I saw the picture of the guy. He looked white. We're not playing guess the race, but that was my deduction based on the activity and last name. I could also be wrong, and he could just be racist, even though they were absolutely wrong for stealing the statue of the picture, or just the feet of the statue made me laugh. You don't have to read this part on the show, but if you don't want, but you're more than welcome to. I started listening to you back in 2011. I took a break several years ago because I was emotionally scarred. I introduced my ex to y'all show, and this nigga was out here in the sex chat rooms using y'all name as his screen name. The black guy who tips. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Wrong type of tips.
Right. Was this black guy who just the tips. Anyway, happy to be back and a little sad. I let a non-motherfucking factor take me away from y'all. Y'all are pioneers. I hope your success continues to blossom. Well, thank you.
Thank you, baby.
And yeah, you know what's interesting? I remember I made an episode of the show once about someone was using my picture on like dating websites.
They were
making fake profiles with me on there, and I just made a joke of it, like, oh, you're not gonna be able to handle all the pussy that's gonna come your way now. Do you understand what I live with every day? I also remember like one person wrote in and didn't like that joke. I was like, that's a funny joke. Fuck you. That's funny.
That's
shit.
Hilarious.
There were so many ways to take that, and that's the funniest way to take that is anyway. Nature Boy says, hi Rod and Karen, and shout out to moms. when you started bonus guest the race about Black Eugene and they said he was looking at 400 years, I thought this had to be some kind of a joke. However, after following the epic journey on October 17, 2022, I was wrong. From trying to buy Burger King with meth to finally ended up with him being arrested after a shootout with the cops and saying he wasn't physically hurt, but his feelings were hurt. I think someone forgot to carry the one because Black Eugene is looking at least 647 years, according to my calculations. I'm pretty sure he hollowed out that Bible he was carrying and kept the pistol in there. Shout out to the journalist that was able to piece together his wild night. That was some Bernard Shaw level combat reporting if I ever heard it. Almost as good as the reporting from Guess the Race with the white woman on the plane that insulted the cops' dick sizes and peed on herself when she got arrested several months ago. Side note, Karen, though he had black man hair in the 80s, let us not forget Eugene Levy is a white Eugene.
Thank you.
All right, let's see if there's anything. I'm sure there's a lot of these on YouTube too. Cause 19 comments. All right. Whew. Yes to Kendrick Lamar Tourette's, says Brooklyn Shoe Babe. Yep, I got it too. S. Carter says, I never listened to his commentary, never responded to the post, but just the look of his video after being disciplined was wrong to me. I have worked in education as well as being a student who had school moms, and this is wrong. Man or woman doing this, one, having kids in your personal space is breaking boundaries that you need and the student needs. I never thought before seeing the emo video that he was a creep. But he is the person who should be helping them set boundaries about what is generally appropriate when kids deal with adults. Yes. 2, placing these kids' faces on the internet for commentary to go viral is a hard no. Right. I think everyone should be able to see that.
Right.
3, these kids having your personal info to text and support is so wrong. Yeah, yes. It was them texting the support that really was like weird to me. Like it's because you know what it reminds me of? A lot of times in like divorces and relationship conflicts, men who have often been doing a woman wrong and by proxy their kids wrong will then use the fact that the kids who don't really know better, and hopefully the mom has been protecting them from everything going on with their father, as far, or like she's not just going home shitting on the dad all the time, so the kids still love and support and want to be around them, but they don't understand like everything that's happening, obviously. And so if the mom is like, well, this man has prostitutes and drugs and such around my kids and that's not appropriate, he's got to stop doing that shit with the kids are gonna come over. And then the guys on social media sharing like text like, look, the mom won't let me be with the kids. Here's my son saying, I love you and miss you, daddy. It felt like that, where it's like, I'm supposed to just go, well, if the kid loves and miss you, then clearly the doing cocaine while the kid is there, that shouldn't be a problem.
It's a problem. Right.
The kid don't care. Right. They're a fucking kid. That's not the job of the kid to care.
Right.
But then I listened to this video and heard his reasons as a mother, former educator, and grown adult. Hell no. You say you are excusing students to perform services to your convenience, time, and money saved. There are ways you can build community without blurring the lives of children. I agree with everything y'all say. He seemed to be doing all this for money and clout. It's just wrong. Sorry this is long. I could even say more. Thanks for all the beef breakdown. I have loved it. Brooklyn Shoebase says, happy Mother's Day, Mama Morrow. Your lipstick is gorgeous. Rod and his mama getting down together to not like us as parent-child goals. Educate the Freer says, J. Cole, one win for the culture, practicing his yoga moves. Onions Under Sonya says, Mrs. Morrow, you are awesome mom. Thank you, Onions Under Sonya's eyes. Jay Houston says, hi Rod and Karen, I'm rewatching this for the 3rd time and it's just as good as the first time. It was great seeing the whole family vibing and not like us. It felt like a party and your mom is awesome. Good job, Karen, on trying to set up the video. In true Karen fashion, you knew when to tap out. I also wanted to thank you for all the coverage of the rap beef I know very little about. I was surprised these arrogant grandchildren of mine by actually being in the know. You saved me hours of looking up terms and references. Karen asked about that snake and his location was hilarious. Keep up the good work. It's appreciated.
I be wanting to know.
Slayer X0 says, Rod and Karen, y'all are legit. Love the content and seeing you on YouTube. I live in Japan. Oh, and really want to go premium, but I listen on Apple Podcasts. There any chance y'all do subscription on that service? Well, actually, you can take our RSS feed from our website if you're premium, put it into your Apple Podcast
Podcast.
app, and you'll be able to hear all our premium shows just with that link. Like, it's very easy, and the instructions are on the website. And if you don't understand the instructions, email me theblackouttips@gmail.com. So yeah, we got listeners in Japan that are premium. Heather says heart emojis off subject. Mom's lipstick is kiss emojis. And then quoting me, he needed to be concerned about the HOA before the OV ho dude laughing emojis. Thank you. More Olivia says, I was waiting for the video upload so I could crack up with y'all. The audio version wasn't cutting it for me this week. Well, we love to see that. And then Blue Magic says, hey, Rod and Karen, wish I had a warning to not drive and listen to this episode. I damn near wrecked my car from laughing so hard. Listening to the news reporter say raper instead of rapper almost took me all the way out. Right? What a Freudian slip. This was an amazing and hilarious episode. Happy Mother's Day to Mama Rod. Keep putting out the great content. And someone said, actually pulled over into the Dairy Queen parking lot. I was laughing so hard. Well, we love when we almost kill y'all. Okay, we love that.
Go ahead and get you a Sunday at the Dairy Queen.
Right. Take an ice cream break. Lavetta says, Rod, my first time watching the Mother's Day show. I usually listen instead. Your mother is gorgeous. Heart eyes emoji. Also, as usual, great show. Thank you. Brandon says, Mom going off made my day. Weed man Wade says, Mama knowing the lyrics sent me, man, that's legit. I told y'all this is a big moment. Educate the Freer says, I love that family sing along intro. Mom was rocking. Yeah, you know, it's funny that somebody told us not to cover this and no one cares and it was boring. Damn, they was wrong. And they never wrote back to apologize. More Olivia says, Happy Mother's Day to your beautiful mother. Well, thank y'all for all those nice, kind words about my mom. And of course, we still have the poll to get to, which is the teacher taking take down video thing. Inappropriate or totally fine. 91% say inappropriate, 9% say totally fine. And I think that's interesting because you know the kind of audience we got. Like, these the most open-minded ass niggas you gonna find, and the vast majority of them are like, no. Like, if they could find a way to make it okay, they would have.
Yes.
And on Spotify, basically 78% to 22%. Still, the vast majority of people think it's inappropriate. My whole thing is, and I think we can all agree, why would you post that knowing that you knew it was gonna make people upset? I just don't understand that logic, and I would question that dude's decision making.
Yes.
Q&A. Fuck him up. Yamonte says, Not Like Us has to be the first Bay Area centric West Coast jam to unite the nation in a dance since Pox I Get Around. Tell me where to go. Blow the whistle. I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I don't want. That's not my area of expertise, and I don't want Nick Jew writing in telling me.
You know she will,
because you know she know. She the Bay Area keeper of the culture, so she know. Wop says Creasy. New York Dynamite says my son started chanting OV ho right after he heard it. Key says, you know how trash a human you gotta be to inspire a nigga via pure hate, enough hate to go in the studio and write 10 songs. Can Nicole says, ran to YouTube to watch along. Audio was not enough for this episode. Raphael says, I guess it's too late for Please Don't Hurt Him. Back to playing LBBL. Valerie says, Rod's mama is beautiful and I do the same. Always preface phone conversations with my brothers. I ain't want nothing, just talk, I'm cool, etc. Yeah, I do that a lot. If I leave you a voicemail, I always gotta let you know, like, hey, I ain't want nothing.
Just checking on you.
If you don't get back to me, ain't no hard feelings.
Yes, I won't take it personally.
Trey says, Drake who? OV ho. Kisha says, all day, I appreciate this type of violence. Alamni says, Kendrick was everywhere, everything all at once. Coach Malik Bailey says, as a teacher, there are lines that shouldn't be crossed. You can be cool when it comes to your attitude, style, and disposition. Do not have the kids do whatever. Keep it to the book or sports. DJ Freedom says, I had to watch this on YouTube. You two had me dying. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad y'all went to the YouTube page to check it out. And let me play another beat so we can put some commercials before we go to the next episode. Boom.
Psycho.
Music.
right, the next episode is More Batter, More Boys. Episode 2903, I believe. 8 comments. The first is from DJ, who says, all the Critter Getter episode memories Rod got in that dude ass. Yeah, a lot of people they never seen that one. They never seen that part of me. Shoe Booty says, it's really fun how in one breath we are saying we got to decriminalize marijuana, this is ruining lives, and the next we need to outlaw this lemonade, the people are dying. What a wild time to be alive. Right, and to be right in both cases.
Yes.
Like the lemonade killing people. What?
Weed ain't giving heart attacks.
It's such a weird gray area considering the legal versus legal drugs. Caffeine is a drug. The energy drink consumption has become so ubiquitous, but it's legitimately harmful to our health in excess because we have personal freedom to drink as much of whatever we want to.
Right.
At what point is we are sorry you died, but you should know better. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, they feel like if we smack a warning on you, that if you still want to take it and die, that's on you.
Sean says, on the one hand, I remember Jennifer Strange, who died in the radio contest, hold your weed for a weed for drinking too much water. Yeah, we covered that on the show. As Pericles wrote, dosis sola vasit venenum, only the dose makes the poison. Many people equate legal and safe, but that has never been the case. Marijuana has always been safer than tobacco or alcohol, but Anslinger's racist campaign to get Billie Holiday to stop singing about lynching led for it to be criminalized. In America, if America had focused on education rather than demonization, perhaps we'd have a more reasonable situation. Abia says, I agree with Sean here. It's something I think about often, maybe also because of my work. What's legal and what's not changed a lot in the past for different reasons, and it went in both directions. Some substances started out legal and became illegal. Others went a different direction. Heroin and cocaine were first developed as medical drugs. Cocaine was used to treat alcohol addiction. I'm sure it worked with the side effect of being addicted to cocaine afterwards.
Right.
I bet it didn't even work. I bet people was drunk and not on cocaine.
That ups and downers.
Yeah, at least it was legal by the time. It was legal by that time, so you could just buy some at the pharmacy. I know. I remember I watched a documentary on PBS about drugs and legalization, and one of the things people don't bring up about the criminalization of a lot of drugs in America, almost all of it is criminalized based off of racism. They would often be like, well, of course you as a Aryan pure white man can handle your cocaine and your weed, but if these black men get a hold of it, they will rape your white women. And I'm not joking. That was just straight up
that's how they pass them laws.
And white people being so fearful of black people was able to look past themselves and be like, well, of course we're not rapists. I mean, it's just a lot of light-skinned black people for no reason. We're not rapists at all, but these blacks, okay, we gotta get the cocaines off the streets, and that's how they did it. Now there are many studies being, and by the way, same thing for prohibition. In the South, especially in the South, it was, well, of course the white men can take a drink, that's fine. You're a big strong strapping white man, you're perfectly fine. But if a black man takes a drink, okay, everyone's getting raped. That was basically the entire fucking campaign.
Everybody getting raped is the answer. Yeah.
Now there are many studies being done with psychoactive drugs like LSD or MDMA because they see that positive effects on mental illness in some cases and are not just party drugs. I think overall it's good that we are rethinking substances. This is how science works. It's not just saying, it's just that nothing stays the same, but this is life. Let's see. DJ says, what that Monique over in the TBGWT comments sneak dissing our lovely and funny lady Karen. Better leave her beautiful head wrap alone before y'all get draked out here in these hot podcasting comment streets. Written one says, regarding the Jackie Robinson statue, my guess is he was trying to melt it down before attempting to sell it, since everyone would be on the lookout for it, but I still give it Dracarys because stealing a black man statue feels racist in my soul.
But he trashed it and burned it, so I was like, how were you planning on selling it then?
I don't understand scrap metal burning shit. So maybe that's what was happening.
Oh, it was in that process and something went wrong?
Yeah, I don't get
right, so they was like, throw it in trash!
Abia says, in my opinion, K and R have a beautiful relationship. If Mr. Appia and I had a podcast, we would be much problematic because he is passive aggressive and I can be aggressive. Luckily, I'm also very reflective, so I try not to get mad at his non-communication, but sometimes it's not working. Yeah, I always say, give it a try. Let me listen to your podcast, person that don't like how we do it.
Right.
I'd love to hear what you and your love, what y'all sound like in front of the whole fucking world. Everybody judging every fucking syllable and pause. You just have to
pronunciation and accents.
Yeah, you just have to learn to be comfortable with yourself and be like, this is what it is, and we'll take it under advisement. Evie says, I think part of the funny is when you don't laugh at Karen's jokes, but she's tickled anyway because she's still proud of that joke.
Yes, child. Because in my mind, I be like, I worked hard on that. I throw it out there and it's crickets. So either he tell me how bad it is. I was like, no, that took some effort. Hooray me. And I cracked me up. So we're going to have to deal with this.
Even when the joke doesn't always land, it's still funny because of the way she tells it, at least to me anyway. And that person who wrote in about how you talk to her clearly isn't a regular listener, because Queen Karen is great at advocating for herself and would never allow any disrespect. Maybe that person is projecting their own relationship with past trauma. Totally possible. I don't know. Like, some nigga could be talking slick to her right now, and now all niggas talk slick. You
never know, right?
Like I said, it's the man or the bear shit. What the fuck I look like trying to convince somebody I'm not as scary as a bear? If you scared of me as a bear, please keep your distance. I don't want you bringing that fear over here, and I don't want, fear also works both ways. Like, now you got to shoot me or some shit. I don't want no problems. I walk around my whole life trying not to be scared as a bear to these motherfuckers. I just want to live my life alone. So thank you for doing me the favor. But also, you can't disprove somebody's whatever. Like, if you think you hear this and I'm just some weird ass abuser ass nigga that decided to make 3,000 episodes of me slowly, low key, passive aggressively abusing my wife every day to the amusement of everyone, and no one gets it but you, only you understand. If you decided that's your truth and you get to live that truth, I don't need to be part of it.
That is not, I promise y'all, that is not my reality.
But you saying that's part of the abuse, Karen. I'm making you say it. You don't even know.
You put me up to it. The Jedi mind trick.
I'm so good at this abuse, Karen. Okay?
You a master manipulator.
Okay? I cook your food every day for you because I don't want you to leave the house. You trapped. Now look at you.
You do cook for me every day.
Aubrey continues to take L's. Besides Kendrick, They Not Like Us #1, which Aubrey definitely cares about. They played They Not Like Us at a Raptors game while Aubrey was in attendance. Damn. Wait, what? No. That can't be true, Evie.
Yeah, but because the Raptors is out the playoffs.
You got tricked by a video. Because the Raptors ain't played a game since fucking...
I'm about to say...
They Not Like Us dropped after their season was over.
Yes,
so somebody got
did.
you with a fake video.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to do a deep dive about the motives behind the Jackie Robinson statue theft and vandalism, but it seems like the police are the ones keeping the motives under wrap, which makes me think there's either police involvement or someone close to the department is involved. Shaking my head. Yeah, exactly. It's a conspiracy. It goes all the way to the top. Bamil says, hey, Rob and Kendra. I've been a super duper fan of yours from the start of your podcast way back in, let's say, 2020, but now I think you've gone too far with this Drake and Kendrick thing. It's obvious. I mean, Drake won. You niggas are obviously Kendrick fans. How could you like him? You definitely cheesing me, fam. You Crodies are acting like some wastemans, them. You call yourself a podcaster, and I hear you don't even laugh at your wife's jokes. One more thing, you also implied that teacher was inappropriate to let the student take out his braids. What was wrong with that? I'm into lots of young teenage girls all the time. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Anyway, stick to podcast and stop slandering me. I mean slandering Drake. Your number one fan, Aubrey Grizzy. OE, Rod and Karen. I think my account was hacked by some guy named Aubrey G. Emil. Thanks, Emil. That's hilarious. Stupid. Our pod on YouTube, 4 comments. REDMCK says, I agree about the whole celebrity blocking thing. The petty part of me jumped on blocking the Kardashian and Jenners, but I never followed them anyways. But as far as the purpose of it, it feels random and pointless in regards to the movement on U.S. policy. Yeah,
it does. The only politician that I ever blocked is Trump. Like,
well, not politicians. They talking about celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they said celebrities because remember we talked about the people who said
yes, celebrities. I don't give a fuck. I don't follow you. You know, if I don't follow you, no. A lot of times, the only time I see it is when other people talking about it. That's how it trends in my timeline. Other than that, I don't see nothing them people doing.
Ramsey says Martin Lawrence and Will Smith have all my dollars. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm in for that.
Onions Under Sonya's Eyes says Bad Boys titles are so funny. Will and Martin are just fun guys, so they will always get my money. Mm-hmm. And Sayida says I love Karen's monologue on love and how it should evolve over time. I agree. All right, and polls. Bad Boys movies I'm always in or no thanks. 66% of the audience is always in, like me and Karen. 33% is no thanks. And basically the same on Spotify. Mm-hmm. The Q&A was ha 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 ha, Karen is killing me, oh my god, Rod. Michelle says I love how Karen laughs at her jokes. Janelle James laughs at her own jokes too. Being confident in your own humor is a good thing. Just Joe says being listening for about 2 months now. I love y'all chemistry. Every episode brings a smile to my face on the way home from work. Please never stop making content. Peace and blessings from the Bay. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Yeah, you better laugh. Ain't nobody else laughing. You laugh.
I completely disagree with that take, by the way. Be funnier is what I say. That's how you get good. JL, I'm sure, is listening. He would agree. There's nothing worse than the people that are like, no one has to think I'm funny. No, somebody need to think you funny. You gotta hit the mark sometimes. Or what the fuck? Then go do a one-man show.
Sometimes I do hit the mark. Sometimes I don't.
I know. I'll never lie to you because I value honesty in our relationship.
And you see, over the years, I have sharpened, it gotten better.
And it's all been because of me. None of it's because of the audience, because these niggas apparently will take anything. I'm the one that's helping you get better by being like, no, that could be a better joke. And then boom, we get better jokes. Y'all welcome.
We do. That's right, because you the writer.
That's like taking it as a compliment. Like, it's like when I cook and then Karen will sometimes say stuff to people like, well, I'll eat anything. And I'm like, that's not a fucking compliment. Well, let me serve you some gruel. Then we'll see what happens. Right. No, you won't eat anything. No. And you won't eat leaves of certain things. There's a lot of shit she won't eat. It tastes
like grass. Sorry.
Right. There's a lot of stuff she won't eat. She won't eat anything, and that helps me be a better cook. So I'll cook better and I pick better meals so that she will eat them. So yes. You need the honesty. No one's being done a favor by being like, I don't care if it's a bad joke. That's a great joke. No, nigga. That's not how jokes work. Jane says the theme of this episode is to never believe anything the police said on criminals' motivation because their reasons are total bullshit. Olivia says, laughing harder, Rod. You think this a game? What is the Braves?
That's how Rod should be treating me. Can't get your shit together over there.
No, they're saying I should laugh hard. I did a fake laugh. They said I need to laugh harder because and they said, what is the Braves? They saying they like Kendrick and I'm Drake. Breezy says Karen be killing me too. Her reactions are the best part of the show. I'm not Lululemon. I would call the police on your black ass. I agree. Raphael says, oh no, someone thinks Karen is a one-trick pony. It's like me taking a fist when I first heard Karen say baby. I could have written in to say I'm a grown man or GRM while I was wearing a diaper. Alumni says she's the Kel to your Keenan. Well, we are all that. So
yes, we are.
Tyrell says I used to demand apologies and get them. God damn. And that's on Noob. Oh, god damn. That is true, Tyrell. I did get them apologies. Mm-hmm. Motherfuckers was right. They was talking crazy. I don't regret that, by the way. I just don't know that. I just hope that I just hope we don't have to see that again. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's all.
You know what it's called? Growth.
I still got files on people that said shit. They just don't know it. I'm like, I got them. I could look at them right now.
yes.
I'm not joking.
And the thing
saved right on this hard drive. Government name, everything.
And And the thing is, like Roger said, y'all have seen him get mad and upset, and everybody has that in him. And the thing is, a lot of that I do through Roderick. So yeah, people go, Karen is upset. Like, no, y'all ain't really seen me mad.
Yeah, I'll try not to do it just because I've noticed that when you do that shit, it's other people that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's all the my God, I thought you were such a good person. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm a good person unless you keep fucking with me. Then I'm gonna be the person that you fucked with, and you're not gonna like that. So leave that part of me alone. I'd like to not deal with that as well.
Ain't that the truth?
I'm
definitely. I avoid that. Like I say, I avoid that.
I'm a person that is willing to burn us all down. I'm like, I can't be more frank about it or more direct about it. It's not a joke. It's not part of the humor. There's nothing cute about it. I don't even like it, but I've done it before and I don't give a fuck. I will do it again. Certain lines people shouldn't cross, and they know what them fucking lines are. I haven't had to do it in a long time. I hope I never have to do it for the rest of my life, but it's always some motherfucker out there that just gotta find out, and then they regret finding the fuck out. Okay, and we've had episodes about that. Keenan says the dynamic of the show is to scrutinize Rod as hard as possible and let Karen live. Rod said random thoughts at the beginning of the episode. Just kidding, but my wife and I constantly go, oh no, like Karen. I know. You need both of us.
Yes, you do.
Some people just don't get the fucking show. This won't work without both of us.
You need the balance. You need me coming out of left field, with my bad puns and Rod Tan. That's not good, baby.
You think you want a show
get
that's
it
just
better.
You think you want a show that's just Karen saying shit and then nobody saying nothing back, which is crazy. That's crazy. Karen done gonna read the articles. I read the articles.
Karen sure ain't gonna read the articles.
Like what do y'all want? Go listen to some other shit.
You need us both, child.
Oh my God. All right.
That's like having a cake without any sweetness.
Yeah,
it don't make sense.
Yeah, and you don't want to hear my ass talking, pontificating in circles all fucking day either. Like it's good and bad to both of us.
Yes, you need the yin and the yang.
Jesus. Anyway, all right. The last episode was stick a poll in it, which this always happens when we have new good guests. I don't know why it always happens. It just fucking happens. We only got one comment. Abia says the guest sounded very sweet, and if I was in New York, I would go to the show.
If you ever get a chance, Abia, please do.
It's very worth it. And YouTube, no comments. Now it also is the show that had the least amount of time to get comments, but still, this always happens. It's weird because I know in a weird way it's a mark of a great show.
Yes.
Is that just they were great guests. We've asked all the questions. There's nothing else to add unless you go to the show and experience it. You don't really have a thing to like give us, but I always feel kind of weird because I'm like, they did a good job and they deserve to hear it.
It was so much fun.
And I just realized I closed the wrong tab.
Okay. Because
we still need the poll and the Q&A. All right, the poll was, have you ever seen pole dancing in person? Yes or no? 66% of the audience has, 33% is not. I would not have guessed something that high. Because I'm not counting, well, shit, I should have said not counting stripping. Fuck. Because some of y'all probably count stripping.
Oh, yeah, because it has a pole.
Right, but I want pole dancing, not stripping. So I fucked up. My science is fucked.
That's why it's so high.
Meanwhile, the people on Spotify got it 40% yes, 60% no, which sounds probably more realistic. But maybe these some freaks. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
You never know.
Y'all might be polling, dancing. Anyway, Nichelle says, I said, go see the show. Nichelle says, I'm going to New York City this weekend, but the show is next weekend. I'm definitely going to try next time I visit. Key says, who knew I learned about the aerodynamics of throwing ass today? But here we are. Insert Paul Rudd Hot Ones meme. Yeah, look at us. Yeah, and that's, if nothing else, I like to have a show that can educate the audience on shaking that ass, the scientific version. All right, let's get into the the voicemails. Let me see here. This is our first voicemail, although this looks like it could be one of those weird blank ones.
But dials.
Yeah, because it's from that area code. All right, we won't. All right, next one is from Erica.
BBL Drizzy, BBL Drizzy. What's up, Rod and Karen? This is Erica Collins. First of all, that BBL Drizzy thing has already been in my head, but I have been binge listening to the last week of episodes because I was away on a cruise, and now it's even more in my head. So thank you for that. And I also want to thank you for your superb coverage of this beef, because I had absolutely no idea why it was happening, but you just broke it down, and I just really appreciate that. And it was just great. You know, I just think you guys are just all around amazing. I'm gonna try to keep this short, but I just love you guys so much. I think someone mentioned this in a last episode about how they feel about Drake. I used to be a really big Drake fan. I remember when he came to perform at my college when he was first starting out. And as I've grown, I don't enjoy him as much. You're right. And he has not really grown as an artist. I actually feel like he's regressed, because at first he had this nice boy persona. Like, I thought he was nice and sensitive. They used to clown him. But now it's just like he has become like a fuck bitches get money type dude, and that kind of turned me off. I mean, he still makes some bops, but as a full body of work, I stopped enjoying him a long time ago. I think the last album I really, really liked was probably maybe Take Care. Maybe Take Care. Probably maybe. Yeah, I know the last one I bought was the one with the blue background. But BBL Drizzy. Okay, it's Erica again. I was just trying to say that my favorite Drake was So Far Gone as an album, but no, I'm sorry. Yeah, the So Far Gone mixtape. That's my favorite Drake body of work. And then album officially is Thank Me Later. I just don't really enjoy him as much anymore. I don't hate him, and I think his best course of action would be to take a break from music and pivot back to acting, and then maybe revisit music in a couple of years, maybe do some maturing. All right. Well, again, thank you guys for just being all around amazing. You're my favorite podcast. Aww. I'm hoping we can get a live show this year. Have a great day.
Yes, absolutely. We gotta get us a live show this year, and thank you, Erica. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That era Drake was the only Drake that I actually was like, oh, who's this guy? Now, part of it was because when I listened to So Far Gone, I thought to myself, oh, this guy is gonna go on to become a rapper, and he kind of never got there. He always was making half very bad singing, half rap. And so I think that's why I never truly became a full-fledged fan of his. And I think when he made that shift towards the very misogynistic in the like direct way, where he went from like, your girl by my tape, even if you hating on me, and turned into like, actually, and I hate these women too. I'm a dog. I dog women out. Fuck Megan Thee Stallion. Fuck Rihanna. Fuck Serena. I never made it over to that side. I just always was like, he'll have a single here and there. Yeah. He'll have like some rap songs that I like when he raps, but I'll never really truly be the fan that I am of other artists, because I don't feel like I know this guy.
Right.
You know? This person left 3 voicemails, I believe.
Okay.
All right, let's see what they had to say.
Hey, it's Tiana. So I had a thought this morning. We really been talking about how like Kendrick Lamar is a diabolical genius. I think Drake really underestimated what an artist, how they can immortalize you, whether they love you, whether they hate you. Like, this beef is going down in history. This shit will be studied in institutions of higher learning. But I went back to go watch the YouTube video of Meet the Grahams this morning, and we all know it's the picture with like the medication for the insomnia and Ozempic and all of the stuff. And it felt familiar to me. Like, I've seen it before. It's so familiar, and I kept trying to figure out why it felt so familiar. And then it hit me today. It reminded me of that picture that somebody sold to the tabloids of Whitney Houston's vanity, with like this little paraphernalia on it. And like, understandably, a lot of people, including me, was pissed off that, you know, somebody would sell that. But then somebody used that picture for an album cover, and it was Pusha motherfucking T.
Yeah.
The way that Kendrick layers things right in plain sight, like, yo, like he wasn't even playing chess. This nigga was playing some shit in a whole nother galaxy, and Drake was playing Jack, to be quite honest. But I just wanted to say that because I didn't recall anybody sort of mentioning the similarity between those two things. So that's it. Love y'all. Hope you're having a good day. Bye.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, he was playing Sabak from Star Wars. But yeah, it is interesting. I didn't make that connection, but now that they have this Twitter account where this person's been like showing video of having that stuff still, I'm guessing that that's the person that took the picture or something, that arranged it. But yeah, it's getting like super weird, creepy levels on Twitter, and I've kind of opted out of the conspiracy theory.
We getting down to the point where you don't know what's true, you don't know what's not.
Right.
They're not actually true journalists is actually going to piece things together, and everything is about attention now. So people are just coming through making shit up. We don't know if their statements are true. Nobody's going to investigate those people. Don't nobody know if these people are real people in the first place. So once you start going down those rabbit holes, it's completely different than me making a song and I officially am putting it up on Spotify. You go, oh, that song is real. Like once you kind of get outside of that realm and into the conspiracy theories, that's I'm like, nah, these things, you know, is different. Like the people up in Canada, there was like, hey, we went and got official records to find out about that security company. That's journalism. Like if it's not anything like that, I don't want to go down those rabbit holes.
She did leave 2 more voicemails.
Hey, it's Kiana. I was listening to an episode for the second time, and y'all were talking about I think it's the BDS protest, and y'all mentioned Keith Lee and how people are trying to like essentially get Keith Lee canceled because he had this partnership with Pizza Hut, and and then you also made a comparison to like civil rights protests and boycotting and things of that in the past. And another thing that I think we don't really talk about enough when we talk about the younger people who are creating the protests now, and the younger people who created the protests and like our parents and grandparents' generation, is just the accessibility of information for people who are interested in learning more about the protests, like especially around this like Palestine, Israel, Gaza, West Bank situation. It's been going on for such a long time, but it's so layered and it's so deep, and a lot of people really don't understand what the true nature of the conflict is. I think people 100% feel like so many people in Palestine should not be dying. They're being murdered. We are witnessing a genocide. Number one, it's not the first time that it's happened, but we are witnessing a genocide. But people don't really know. They don't really know how to articulate. And the new kids who are sort of responsible for the protest, they give these very academic, inaccessible explanations for people who would probably be more on their side if they just talk to people like they had some goddamn sense. Like, if you talk to me in a way that is relatable to me, you can more easily pull me onto your side. If you can make that protest relate to, like, people's everyday struggle or help them to see why it's an important cause without talking over them or condescending them or making them feel bad because they're not as, like, studied and learned as you, then you could probably make more progress. But then also, like, the whole thing of we're blocking celebrities. Okay, Beyonce still sold how many millions of albums? Somebody ladies gonna be playing shit, kick you off that voicemail. So just to wrap it up super quick, I think if the kids now who are, you know, sort of behind that sort of section of the protest, it's not only like they want to do this thing where it's a moral, you know, morally superior thing, but also like they're really getting off on being able to act like they're intellectually superior. Being an intellectual doesn't just, you know, correlate with how many years you spent in school and how many degrees you have. If you don't understand that the sole purpose of language is to communicate ideas, and you're trying to rally people together, but you can't communicate ideas to them, really, how smart are you? So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Love y'all. Hope y'all are having a great day. Bye.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think on 2 fronts, like one of the differences is that in those civil rights movement, there's a structural hierarchy, and that there was like leadership and committees, and even and the optics of it was considered a lot. And so there's a reason we all think MLK did the march, but then you look behind the scenes and you see how many people contributed to these marches and movements, and you realize, no, they wanted us to think it was a one-man movement because they decided that shit a long time ago, that it was going to look like that for certain movements that they had and certain moments. And that stuff became very important. And I think now we can't, the second part of this is, without the structural hierarchy, we can't really control or divorce ourselves from the motivation and impetus to turn the camera towards ourselves and be individual stars, because that is what our social media, that is the currency of social media, attention. And it doesn't, so like, we're not supposed to just play our role, we're supposed to be a star. We're all the leader of the movement now. We're all a leader on our own page, and we're all influencing everybody on our own platform, as opposed to, like, I think what would mirror this now would be if there, and I'm not saying people should do this, do whatever you want, I'm not telling anybody they're right or wrong, but I think if we wanted to have like a old school approach to it, it would look something like everybody sharing the one video of the person who is speaking up to explain to everybody what the conflict is about, how we're going to resolve it, and why, what everyone's role is in it, and da. It would basically be like, we're all just in line showing the world we're behind this person. And when you log on to any social media, you just see the same fucking video from everybody. That's closer to the vibe of what those movements were. Now we actually have like everyone explaining for themselves, and that is when ego gets into it. That is also why these motherfuckers fight so much, even though they be on the same side, because why you getting all the attention, I'm not getting enough attention. Well, you said something a little bit different than what I said, even though we want the same thing, fuck you, you know. And so we end up with a lot of noise in the thing, in these movements that you know, just kind of hurts the optics. But once again, I if this is how people want to engage, they can. I just don't necessarily think the blocking celebrities thing is really productive, and I don't think it'll work towards the goal. I just think in my heart of hearts, I truly do believe a lot of that's just staying culture shit run amok, because everyone excuses the ones they like for the most part. They not as mad. You could put them on the list even. You ain't as mad at the ones you like as the ones like you said, like someone wrote in, oh, I blocked the Kardashians. Yeah, you already hate them. So that didn't mean shit. That's not a movement. That's something you already are doing. It's, you know, it's me being like, I refuse to eat in some restaurant that I hate, that I never go to. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And also, I think for me, you bring up a great point, and not always, but a lot of people, and I do agree with a lot of people that are highly educated, are not breaking things down for common people. And when you do that, you lose the masses, and the masses are going to be the ones that's actually going to help whatever your cause is, and to push it out further than just you. And so if they don't really understand, or they're going off of half information, because the thing is, how can we say this? You're educated and you're smart, so people are looking at you, not trying to be funny, to be the one with the knowledge and the wisdom to help them understand these things. And you took it upon yourself on social media to be this arbiter of, hey, I know it all. I'm here for it. So people are going to have, regardless of how you feel about it, people are going to put that expectation upon you. And the thing about protesting and things like this, a lot of times people say things are protest when they're not really a protest. They're just, we just don't like this, or whatever it may be. Because when you protest, there's demands, there's, hey, these are the things we won't change, and these are our list, and once you meet these, we're gonna quote unquote come back. But a lot of times people protest shit, like Roger say, that you were never consuming in the first place, that you never took part of. So I am not losing somebody that was never my targeted audience.
Yeah, it's it's as if you had a bus boycott, but nobody was using the bus in the first place. If everybody was driving, then the bus boycott means nothing, because they didn't lose shit. Right. And then also I think for a lot of this stuff, it even turns into something that it's not supposed to be, which is, I'm not riding the bus. You Negroes are riding the bus. Because you don't care as much as me. And it's like, no, you just have a car. Like that's, so I think, it's just not the movements of old, but that's okay. That's what the new movements look like. And we'll see if they can affect policy this way. It doesn't seem to be something that would affect policy, and it really hurts young folks because they don't really vote. And so, right. And voting and turnout has been this way my entire life, your entire life, and the lives of everyone in America, because the under 25 vote has always not turned out, period, for any candidate, even Obama and them. Like, even what we call high turnout is still much lower turnout than the other age groups. So it's just, very unfortunate. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
And one more thing to piggyback on something you said when you was talking about all these other pieces played roles behind the illusion of Martin Luther King being the forefront and him, quote unquote, being able to pull all these magic tricks with no help, even though everybody knows that's impossible. But that's the illusion of the forefront. Also, to add to what you were saying, people don't want to be, you put like this, when you have something that's a body, you need the body to function, which means everybody, you can't have 18 mouthpieces. The body, there's something wrong with the body that looks like that. You need people to do other things, and nobody wants to do other things. Everybody wants to be the mouthpiece, but right. Nobody wants to, be the people that lay out things, be the people that's the support group, be the people for the food, or nobody else wants to do the hard work that actually helps the cause. And particularly on social media. Now, there are people out there doing this, but a lot of times people that are actually doing that, they're not on social media, they're doing those types of things. Yeah. And so you got to have a face in the front, but you have to have these other things that are willing to do the other parts. And when nobody wants to do the other parts, and the body starts fighting itself by going, the feet going, well, why ain't I the face? And the face, and the eye, and the hand going, why ain't I the eyes? All of a sudden you have this discord and this dysfunction, within the body, but yet you want something massive to happen, but there's no unity. But in the age of social media, it's very hard to be to have an illusion of unity, because even with Martin Luther King and all them, everybody wasn't unified. Everybody didn't agree with them niggas said. But because everybody had the same cause, and also I think too, we are in the age where all black people don't have the same causes. Yeah. And so when everybody don't have the same causes,
this isn't necessarily even a black thing.
Okay.
So right. So this isn't even about organizing the black people. This is you're either a person that sees what's happening in the Gaza and you think it should stop, or you're a person that doesn't give a fuck, or you're a person that thinks more should happen to Gaza. More people, it should be more bombs and shit. But I don't like, this isn't even just about us all coming together as black people. Like, this is just people being disorganized. And I think the celebrity thing is very complicated. Maybe we'll talk about it in depth a different day. But it's just a very complicated relationship that people have with celebrity and perceived jealousy and fame and perceived power and perceived control that these celebrities don't necessarily have. And to me, it often abdicates the government of their responsibilities, because you're mad at them, and not like, you're mad at them because you've given up on your role in changing America.
Yes, you have.
All right, last voicemail.
I say all that to say, when I listen to the songs and Kendrick go in, the only people I thought about talking about it with was Rod and Karen. I I said, I need to know what they're saying. And mind you, I'm back in February. Like, as far as my podcast listening to TBGWT, I'm back in time. So I'm listening to back when we didn't give a fuck about J-Lo, and now everybody turned on J-Lo. Like, that's where I'm at. So I said, I gotta skip. Like, and now I'm on, what episode is this? 2897, where you and Rod and Karen are going into the episode, and I was like, this is exactly what I've needed in my life. Thank you so much for spending ample hours and amount of time dissecting this shit, because this shit is crazy. It's insane, and it's been so enjoyable. Even to the point, it's Saturday morning or Saturday early afternoon, and I'm like, damn, I hope they didn't do the show already. I hope I'm not bringing up old shit, but I just want to let y'all know, y'all are doing the Lord's work, okay? This is the ghetto mess that I really just enjoy being a part of in Black American culture. And y'all, if y'all are not the epitome of Black American culture, I don't know what it is. The last note I got, I listened to probably the last time that Keith and the Girl came on to this show. And when I tell you, I wanted to just be like, all right, y'all, they got 8 minutes left. This is about to wrap up. I don't need to listen to these last 8 minutes. But I was in tears, emotional, like crying, laughing with joy and love in my heart. That was such an amazing, like just an amazing show, amazing experience, amazing relationship to see and listen to both of you. But listen to both shows, really had that interaction probably for the last time on TPGWT. But with that being said, I love y'all. Have a wonderful week. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing, because this is pure entertainment. Okay? Love y'all. Bye.
And I just realized this person is called during this episode, and this is their fourth call. That's because I was like, they didn't introduce themselves. That was weird. Skype just showed it out of order. I don't know if they all 2 minutes. We'll see.
This is Kiara. I'm gonna call back a couple times. Listen, I need to tell you a real quick story. When everything happened with Drake and Kendrick, I was 2 sheets to the wind. I was like, I don't care. I really don't. I'm not a rap girl. Doesn't really matter to me. You know, niggas beef all the time. I'm not involved, right? Like, I'm beyond this. I did not listen to not one word. And then, because it was like Rick Ross, and then it was all these other niggas, Chris Brown got into it, and I was like, I don't care. This is none of my business, right? I'm listening to podcasts, I'm working or whatever. And then this shit with Kendrick, like I was on TikTok and like videos kept coming up. People kept breaking down, kept talking about it. And I was like, damn, all of this happened? No, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Like y'all are bugging out. It is not that serious. But when it was like Kendrick dropped 3-4 songs, I'm like, okay, I really need to take some time to listen to what the hell is going on. So I didn't really listen to Like That or anything like that. So I listened to Like That, and I was like, okay, this is like a diss, but it's hip hop shit. Like that, this is fine, it's fun or whatever. And then I started going back and forth between Kendrick and Drake, and I was like, okay, like this is cool, but this feels personal. I didn't even listen to 7 Minute Drill, because I was like, no one gives a fuck about J. Cole. Like, J. Cole, he was in, he was out. I literally did not even get a chance to listen to his rap before I got involved in the Kendrick Drake stuff. So I'm gonna hang up and I'm calling y'all right back. All right, bye.
She know her 2 minute rule. She be getting in and out.
All right, so then it became 1 o'clock in the morning, and all my family was asleep, my man was asleep, everybody was asleep, and I was like, okay, let me take a couple of minutes to just listen to the songs. And literally, back to back, I was listening to, pun intended, back to back, I was listening to Kendrick songs. And when I heard Meet the Grams, I said, what is going on? Like, I was like, this is assault, right? Like, Drake gotta be able to press charges. Like, this is a directed attack against my entire lineage, proven and disproven. I was scared. Like, my heart was beating. I was like, oh my God, we are really seeing these niggas fight. And then, not like us, but then something else came out, or right before that, the other song came out. And I was like, yo, is this the fucking downfall of Drake? Like, are we witnessing this with mine own eyes? Like, what the fuck is going on? And just to let you know, Listen, I'm 33, about to be 34 in a few months. I was in the Drake camp about circa 2010 to maybe 3-4 years ago. I was like, you can't tell me shit about Drake. Drake is the love of my life. Light skin, singing, rapping, like, oh my God, speaks to my soul. When I was, 19, going on 20, I was like, this man is it. He is him. He is hip hop. That's it. All right, I'm gonna call y'all right back.
I appreciate her admitting to the colorism, because it really was helping him. This explains a lot.
I thoroughly enjoyed Drake for years, for probably the better part of a decade and a little bit more. These last 2 albums with the babies on the front, and then there was something else, I said, I can't do it. I didn't even download it, and that's a lot for me, because when he was with the head, with the clouds and the blue background, that I could play it. I could literally play it through 2-3 times without stopping. But like this more recent Drake, now I'm 30. Now I got kids. Now I experienced life. I experienced loss. I've experienced things that, I like to listen to albums and songs. I'm not even a person that listens to music, but when I hear it, like, I want to really be able to resonate with some of that stuff. I haven't been able to relate to Drake in years. And I'm like, look, you do you, boo. Get your money, get your bag, or whatever. But fine. I ain't got shit for you, but I'm not stopping your hustle. Let me tell you something. Kendrick has made me reconsider life. Kendrick has made me reconsider how I have let Drake cook. And even listening to y'all are absolutely right. Everything about Drake being a bitch ass nigga with Meg Thee Stallion, you're absolutely right. 100%. 100%. He does a lot of bitch ass shit. I don't support him. And it's like, not even I don't support him. I didn't go out of my way to not support him. See what I'm saying? Like, I really was just like, I'm going to let him cook. I ain't doing shit to support him. But I'm also not doing anything to, like, deny him his bag. And I feel like Kendrick has gotten people like me onto his camp to say, no, nigga, I'm going to go out my way to make sure you ain't getting shit from me. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not giving you a listen, a dime, or whatever. Like, for real, for real. So, I'm going to call y'all back one more time. Bye.
All right, we already heard the last one, but yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. She went through all the phases. We got to listen to her
go through it in real time.
She sound like us.
She was like, I had to stop being in the past in February and catch all the way up.
Yeah. I also appreciate that the Drake, the reframing of Drake and people growing up. Because I've considered this for a minute. And I've always been a little surprised by the backlash to Drake. And it's all because the people that listen to Drake grew up and he refused to.
Yes.
Because I'm always like, what the fuck are y'all so mad about? All these niggas seemingly are, a lot of these, not all, a lot of these dudes are very immature. And Drake somehow, they write think pieces about his immaturity. I'm like, what? All these dudes are kind of messed up. But it's because for their generation, he's their guy. And they thought, well, he'll grow up as I grow up. And no, he's going to continue to try to fuck young women and dog women out and hang out with the youngest, newest rappers and not tell you anything about his life. And there's nothing really about raising his son and being a fully three-dimensional person. He's Drake, which is a character that Aubrey Graham plays from Canada. And that's why it never really resonated with me. And I'm not a hater. I listen to plenty of Drake stuff and it's very surface level, and that's all it's ever going to be because that's all he's capable of making. All right. Whew. Getting to those final stretch, guys. Emails. All right.
Riding on it. Riding on it.
All right, let's get to these emails. 5 Mo from Tracy, who says, hi, Rod and Karen. Love y'all in the show. I too would like to thank you for the coverage and the breakdowns of this Kendrick versus Drake situation. I rarely chime in with a comment, but Rod, I want the other five songs so bad. It makes no sense, right? Me too. I keep hoping they'll drop at some point, maybe with the album. Also, this might be an un-PC thing to say, but you also touched on folks being so tired and so over it, and I think it's a sign of everyone's short attention spans and quick news cycle. But I remember how pressed we were over the Hove and Nas beat battle songs, as well as Pac and Big. If we had a turnaround times like we do now, then it would have been amazing. Yeah, because we had to wait like many days between responses and songs, sometimes months.
Yep.
Also, for me, it also showed the thumb thuggery most people practice, because when I grew up, if you challenge someone to a fight, be ready to fight until neither of y'all can go anymore, period. Bingo. You don't taunt someone and then be like, oh, I'm bored with this, because you are outmatched in every way and being made a fool of. Bring them bars, Aubrey. Since that didn't happen, we know who the victor is. Thank you guys for everything you put out weekly. You bring so much to my days working remotely. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Let's see. Julia says, did you watch the RoboCop docuseries on Prime Video? They dedicate about 10 to 15 minutes to Bitches Leave. That's it. Love the podcast. You guys are awesome. I have not watched it. I did hear that segment though, from Andy Klein on Three Guys On. He played the audio of the directors talking about how that scene came about, and yeah, it's a wild ass story. That seems like an email for Three Guys On. Mama on the B-Ho. Aaron says, hey Rod and Karen, the TikToker teacher situation reminded me of Dylan Mulvaney. When Dylan Mulvaney met Laverne Cox, Dylan was the transgendered woman who was put on the Bud Light cans, but before that she was at some event where she was able to meet Laverne Cox, one of her idols. Dylan was so excited to meet Laverne and told her how she basically documented her entire transition and was inspired by Laverne. Laverne was aware and was trying to tell Dylan that not everything needs to be recorded and documented, but it was all going over Dylan's head. The young kids just don't get it sometimes. Yeah, I remember I've heard about this, and yeah, I think it's just hard. The kids think transparency is the most valuable kind of content, and they just don't understand that the world is not like your support system. So the same people telling you to kill yourselves are watching that, as well as the same people going, you go girl, go out sis, we support. And a lot of people's brains are not, I'd say almost no people's brains are set up to handle the first one. Like, we all can handle the support and love. None of us can handle just motherfuckers ruthlessly coming at you, and you're giving them the material that they're using to do it.
Yes, you are.
But yeah, they're gonna find their way, probably through trial and error, like we did. They just had to do it in front of everyone.
Yep, which we didn't have to.
Ashley says, hi y'all, listening to y'all talk about the Twitter troll had me thinking about how much I admire y'all's relationship. When I first started listening to the show, I remember bristling at Rod, but I'm not quick to judge, so I was like, let me listen some more. It didn't take long at all for y'all to dispel that, mostly because I saw Karen assert her own agency regularly, setting boundaries, holding her own in argument, and expressing herself passionately. Then I had to ask myself why I felt that way in the first place, especially since I'm also a very intense person who likes to debate and really dig in with people. Yeah, I think also that could be some of that energy, because I have that for sure. I don't like to debate like an asshole. You know, those people that just like, I want to, like, they say something they don't even believe so y'all can fight. I'm not like that, but I definitely am let's go and let's dig into this.
Yeah, people like that, like you say, debate for debate's sake, and they don't even believe it. People like that make me highly upset.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah.
And if you're the homie, we should be able to have a conversation where we like not seeing eye to eye or don't understand each other, and then continue to talk until either we do like have an understanding or have an agreement. I don't even see anything bad about that. It's only bad if you just really think all conflict and all I mean, in this case I almost wouldn't call it conflict, but let's say conflict for lack of a better word. Unless you think all conflict is some sort of like attack, then it wouldn't matter anyway. We could never be friends. We could never be friends.
Agreed.
You know?
And also it's one of those things where Roger knows me and things like that, and so Roger would never do anything that make me mad or tick me off. And it's also one of those things to where I know me and Roger has a trust. So when Roger comes at me, I know he's not coming at me from a mean place, or I'm trying to quote unquote get you or catch your place, or I'm saying the opposite of what you're saying just because I can. type of thing, and not trying to fun those people. I don't respect people like that. I just don't. But if I'm trying to have a serious conversation with you, like a real conversation with you, and you just want to quote unquote, well, I'm picking the opposite side after a while, and once I catch on to it, I will start having the conversation. But what the fuck we here? And then I'm gonna start joking because they're like, oh, if you're not taking it serious, bitch, I ain't either.
And there's a lot of shows that do engage in that. There's a lot of men that the thing is to antagonize the woman co-host all the time and shit and whatever. But the other part that I think is a little different from us and most podcasts is that we are married, and that I still make a personal commitment to not fake. Like I don't want to perform too much for y'all, in that like I'm and it could be even to our detriment. Like we could maybe even be a bigger show, but I don't want to be like pandering. I don't want to pretend to understand things I don't.
Right.
I don't want to like do that smoozy thing. Like if you ever go on a double date with a couple and it feels like they're just extra, they're doing too much just because you there. And it's like, I don't want you to feel like pressure to do shit you don't normally do.
Be yourself.
If y'all the kind of couple that don't hold hands because we holding hands.
Right.
Do you? This ain't got shit to do with us. I feel like that. I don't want to do that energy, because that's, I'll try to be as authentic as I can with this being a mic and a camera, right? So, conversations that we have are the conversations we would have in general, the tone of them, the way we talk to each other in general. So sometimes I think that could hurt though, because there are people that will take on the role of performing. We know people like this. We've had people like this on our podcast where literally before the fucking mic turned on, they were at each other's necks. The second we started recording, they were honey, sweetie, lovey dovey, baby. And it was like, to me it was jarring, because I'm like, I just watched y'all motherfuckers almost kill each other just trying to figure out how to get the mic to work. But okay, you know what I mean? And often, you know what the number one question for those couples would be to us? How do you do it? How do you, those days when you just like getting on each other's nerves and you still do a show? And I'm like, I don't even know how to tell you this. I just don't experience that problem. And it doesn't mean I'm not saying it's just, and it's not even a judgment. It's not like I'm doing something different. It's just not our relationship.
Right, not our structure, yeah.
It's not us having one where it's like, before this mic started, we were like, man, fuck you. Hey, everybody, welcome to Black. So I don't even know how to fake that kind of shit, and I'm glad I don't have to. What you hear is basically how we talk to each other, period.
Yes, and also I think that because of my sweetie baby lovey-dovey, and because I'm a woman and things like that, and there are times where people invite me on their show separately from Rod, and this hasn't happened in a long time, but I've been like guest on shows where they underestimate my willingness to fight back.
You were on Black Astronauts podcast. I don't think those episodes are up anymore, but I remember this episode where a guy was trolling and kind of coming at you, wanting to fight just to be contrarian, and you lit into his ass. And that's the thing, a lot of motherfuckers don't understand that what they're hearing on this show is a person that understands how Karen works and ticks and talks and what makes her upset and how angry she can get. And I don't do that for content. So I'm not on here being like, let me see how pissed off I can get her so she can go off. Karen will go off on other shit anyway. But some people need to hear her go off on me or go off on, well, you're not going to hear it because I don't do shit like that. I would never disrespect my wife in public or private for some fucking like, haha, she went off on me. So, I mean, if y'all ever hear it, it'll be the first time we both hear it together on this show.
We will all be shocked.
I don't do that shit, and I think it kind of throws people off in a way because they're trying to protect a woman from something that they think, which is very normalized, something that happens to women all the time, even in romantic relationships. They're trying to protect you from that, but they don't understand that they're also they're bristling for a punch that's never coming, a attack that's never going to happen. So you'll just have to listen to every 3,000 episodes and wait for the day that I just fucking pull off the mask and reveal I'm an asshole, but it's not happening.
Chad, everybody, it be like the Spanish gas. Boom, boom, boom. I will be shocked and surprised.
Well, I've seen you go at people. You've gone at people that have tried to do that shit. So
yeah,
I know it can happen. They just don't.
Right, and a lot of times it's shocking and surprising, and and I understand people that feel like they have to quote unquote defend me, but it's one of those things where I don't need defending, particularly when it comes to you.
It's a trust thing.
Yes.
It's going to take a while for them to even know if that's because this is the other thing. Everything you're saying is also what people that are in relationships where men are fucking terrible to them say.
Yeah.
So we've seen that too, where it's like, I don't like the way this person talks to this woman, and she's like, it's fine. He doesn't mean it. It's all da da da. And you listen to the show, and it's like, shut up, bitch, you dumb ass bitch, you bitchity bitch. And I'm like, ugh. Well, we just joke. We like to argue. That's how we do. And I'm like, okay. So the only thing that's gonna assuage people is to listen long enough to feel differently, or it'll never feel differently. The main thing is I'm not worried about trying to change that for folks. Either it happens or it doesn't. We just need to keep doing our show.
And that's what we're going to do.
And I think as a queer woman, I'm actually very protective of women in hetero relationships because they often have to put themselves down or on the back burner to keep their men. But that's not y'all. I've never heard anyone say these things about other podcasts where there's a woman and a man like What's the Tea or the War Report. Because y'all are in a relationship, they're projecting onto y'all, especially putting all the powerlessness or lack of agency that they have felt on the Karen. Yeah, and there's a way to view our relationship that totally makes me the bitch of the relationship, which some niggas have tried to do when they got mad at me.
Yeah,
but surprise, I don't mind. Then I'll be the bitch. Fuck you.
Yes,
I'm happy.
Yeah, he's very comfortable, and a lot of times they'll come out here with stereotypes that he don't care about. Like particularly when I was working out of the house, he was at home, or he does like a lot of the cooking and the cleaning and things like that. Like they like that's a quote unquote tag or something against your masculinity.
Love don't love nothing but itself, and I need people to understand what I mean.
Come on, love don't love nothing but itself,
which is essentially like whatever it takes for our relationship to be a working, happy relationship is what we do. And at the end of the day, everybody's invited to have an opinion, but I gotta respect it. I can't let that rock us. So it's it's like cool. It's niggas that think it's whack that I do all the shit around the house and a bunch of shit. I'm the nigga that will cry, the nigga that
the nigga that let his woman quote unquote be too free. Speak up too much.
Most of these motherfuckers honestly couldn't handle the way Karen just shows up anyway, because they want to put people in boxes the whole time anyway. So they so worried about how other people view them in their relationship. We had every level of dumb motherfucker right up here and say some shit
over the years. Yes,
and talk about Karen's accent and shit.
Yes, we just be corny together.
Yeah, fuck y'all. No offense to you, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm with you.
As not Karen, I'm talking about the listeners. As someone. As someone still in these treacherous dating streets, LOL, I actually really love when y'all talk about love. It's grounded to get some perspective and reflection from folks who aren't in the muck. I'm a pretty hopeful person, so it really helps to see that there are people who have a level of trust and respect for each other that's so deep that you can be honest while still being loving. Thanks for being who you are and letting us in for a bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. And I haven't been in those streets, so I'm sure that's affecting a shit ton of everything. Let's see. My man Proth writes in, hi Rod and Karen. Sorry for the clickbaity headline, which was feedback teaching is a crisis globally. But I thought I'd weigh in on teaching that's going in from an Australian perspective to in light of the TikTok teacher story. Here, the teaching shortage has hit us in a big way. Shortages are being felt even if we'll establish private schools, and turnover in most schools has caused significant disruption to students' learning. Here, teachers are paid pretty well compared to our American colleagues. We have less guns, which makes a huge difference to safety and mental health overall. But teachers are still leaving in droves due to poor treatment, mountains of paperwork, and a lack of leverage when it comes to the classroom. COVID lockdowns make teachers realize that they don't have to put up with the abuse they suffer from parents, students, and media and the public. When students students and the parents have all the power and are treated like customers. Teachers are powerless to have authority in the classroom to maintain a stable classroom environment for learning. The shortage also means casual teachers who are paid more on average are babysitting subjects they have no expertise in or investment in.
Right.
The upside of teachers is that we have more choice in where we teach and have flexibility in movement to schools due to shortages. The downside is that to fill the gaps, the schools are forced to take anyone with a heartbeat and throw them in the classroom, including our TikTok teacher. TikToks with students, letting female students touch his hair, calling them best friends, and giving students your personal number raises more red flags than a Chinese military parade. It takes a special kind of person that is built for teaching, a combination of passion and for learning, a logical and reasonable mindset, compassion and patience for students with firm boundaries and structure in the classroom, and student interactions can only be done by a select few people. Given the desperation we face, the wrong kind of people are joining the profession because it's good money and you get school holidays. In a previous school I worked in and I agree, because I just was listening to JL Covan's podcast and he said something about becoming a teacher, and I said, see, that's what's wrong with America. In previous school
them poor kids
in a previous school, he just gonna be telling them give up on their dreams. In a previous
dreams
school,
what are those, kids?
you're gonna go be a fucking lawyer and you're gonna like it. In a previous school I worked in disengaged and at-risk teenagers. A colleague who has maybe 6 months experience as a history teacher wanted to be creative and set up an ancient Greek display with fake fruits, flowers, and a bottle of wine to add to the learning experience. At the end of the day, another colleague inspected the wine bottle closer and asked me to smell it. Sure enough, it was an actual wine bottle with actual wine in it, open for anyone to drink. When questioned, the teacher had the I didn't know I couldn't do that look on her face. She kept her job until she left later that year. This is one of many stories I have to highlight the same point. This is a global issue as many countries are facing the same problems. Parents and society in general should be very concerned at where this is heading. The divide between the haves and have-nots will only get bigger unless people wake up and work together to start fixing the problem.
Agreed.
I'm going to be a father soon and I'm fearful of my child's future. I'm urging everyone to get involved at a local level, have your voice heard, and vote at school board meetings and local elections, as well as federal elections. Is everyone's responsibility to act if you want a better future. Thanks for everything you do, especially for highlighting the problems of education. Take care, proud. Thank you. Shuli says, hey, Rob and Karen. Now she does write back later to say apologies for misspelling your name. From now on I'll be sure to double check before I hit send. Honestly, Shuli, at this point people have spelled my name wrong so many times, it's a running joke.
It is a running joke, and
honestly I'm never offended by it. If anyone, I'm not one of the name people. I take umbrage to disrespect. I don't take, if someone jokingly calls me the wrong name or just accidentally calls me the wrong name, it doesn't bother me. I don't know what it would take for y'all to really, it would have to be something real fucked up for me to be like, God damn, but Rob isn't it. I usually listen to y'all I usually listen to y'all with my love, Nerdy the Sensei, but I had to rewatch your song breakdowns on YouTube to feast on the delicious Kendrick Aubrey beef. I'm grateful that Rob is the hip-hop head giving us the blow by blow. No one else seems to get it right. A lot of articles lean into the shallow both sides talking points. It's like they never listen to Rich Spirit. They probably haven't. Yeah, also a lot of them are the culture vultures that Kendrick is calling out.
Yes.
And so it's hard to expect certain type of people that identify more with the Drake colonialistic approach to rap to truly have a unbiased understanding of Kendrick's point of view. Appreciate you too for calling out all the bitches catching strays and giving Megan Thee Stallion credit for her contribution with Hiss. I love to hear you two talk about hip-hop with your nuanced understanding of gender. Thank you. And I hopefully, I try to do it without it being too preachy, because I do want us to, I'm not challenging anybody who brings up like, hey, shit is very misogynistic, homophobic, and all the other isms. You're right. So once we have that, we don't even have to fight. Because what I don't want to do is just lecture everybody about some shit we all know is happening. Anyone that's fighting against that is a dumbass. Yes, it is misogynistic, and I will always point it out when I'm reading the lyrics or talking about it. But I'm not going to, what, y'all need to hear how great a guy I am for an hour with me being like, and I would never call a lady. No, that's not it. And it's not true. You know, the real truth is this is a toxic ass part of the culture that is always going to be such, and there's no call out that's going to bring it in. I think people are trying to justify enjoying it.
Yes, I've seen a lot of
But you know, it's the motherfuckers that come to a football game and be like, oh, a concussion, you know, the league has a concussion issue and I don't support that part of it. It's like, well, nigga, no one came for the goddamn CTE.
No, we did not.
You not special. Stop hot-siding us. I have an interpretation that mix-up of Haley Joel Osment and Joel Osteen on Euphoria is intentional. When Chat GPT hallucinates answers, it's not too different from when humans misremember celebrity names. I think it's a joke about human memory and generative AI, or maybe about how Aubrey doesn't listen. Don't let the OV ho bots keep you down. Shuli. Thank you, Shuli. And you mixed up my name, which is so ironic. In this, but yeah, I mean, I've heard that interpretation too. I still don't know if I fully buy it. I really would love to talk to Kendrick Lamar one day and be like, bro, did you really fuck up Haley Joel Osment and Joel Osteen, or was that like a super duper lyrical bar? I just want to know. Tell me the truth. No one is around, just me and you in this room. Just tell me, because I really do. Both answers would be great to me either way. Chris Wright said professionalism. Hey yo, what up, Rod and Karen? So I don't know. I know we don't talk about other podcast issues here, but I did want to take time to thank you for the good work that you do. I remember recently you had that person that tried to press you to talk about talking over Karen or not letting her speak or something silly that you never did. I don't know if you were being serious or not. I don't know if you get a lot of these complaints, and I don't even know if it goes the other way, like maybe some red pill hotels are saying Karen needs to be quiet. I hope not. I ain't trying to speak those losers up, but I wanted to express gratitude for the thoughtful way you both managed to get your points across. Yeah, to all that basically. And we don't get a lot of hotel people calling in and saying shit because they don't listen, but they might leave a comment on YouTube, but I'll be deleting them. Honestly, Karen probably doesn't never see them because fuck them people. Like, honestly, you call up here or write up here and take a shot at me, it probably is. It's a higher percentage it'll make the show than you taking a shot at Karen, because if I can keep her from seeing it, she'll never even see it and we'll never talk about it.
Child, I am over here being blissfully ignorant.
As a listener, I really appreciate it. In the long time I've been listening to the show, I've never heard what that person was saying. You both allow space for the other to complete their thoughts, and then what I appreciate most is you return to the topic at hand and finish that thread as well. Even when you appear on other podcasts, you have the same standard of professionalism, or at least that's what it seems to me, so thanks for that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, I feel sometimes I'm a little too uptight about us not talking over each other, and maybe it doesn't sound conversational. I'm trying to get better at that and be like, okay, jump rope, I can hop in here, she hops in on my point, that's cool. And sometimes it's awkward, someone steps on a foot, but that's also part of it.
Yeah, and also it's a balancing act, because I know that I talk, and so I try to be very conscious of that. And also I want Roger to get his thoughts out completely. So a lot of times while he's talking, I'll jot notes. Now, sometimes I'll do interrupt, because I'm like, hey, before you move on to some other shit, and I forget my thought, because I'm not always writing down.
And that's always
like, let
welcome.
me add to this conversation right here, and then you can continue on, versus I let you finish, and then I'm just coming back with a long ass rebuttal.
And it's always welcome. You know, like I said, if I really need to finish my thought, I'll say it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think people take it offense, but I guess I'm weird, but like, I'd rather someone stop me and be like, no, please let me finish my thought, than me stumble over their thought and they don't get it out. Like, I'd rather that. And so I try to be open about that on my end too, where I'm like, no, hold on, I'm gonna say something different than you got it. Just let me get this out. I don't know, I think we do a good job. I wrote in because I was thinking about it, Liz. I listened to another pod. I usually don't listen to this person's pod, even though I don't have any enmity with this person, and they usually say some really good and interesting things. Sometimes I will listen to them and just be like, all right, man. Anyway, this person had one of my faves, Cinnamon Love, on. I wrote in about how I discovered her work on her on the work computer a while ago. And another guest, I do love some Cinnamon Love, though. She one of them ones. I've been following her work for a while. Well, I mean, when you say work, she has like 2 lanes of work at this point now. She's a sex worker advocate. She's been at the White House. Like, she's very politically active. I didn't know I gotta ask her to be on the podcast. I didn't know she was doing shows.
Okay.
For a while, she usually has some insightful things to say about an industry we're very familiar with, but don't really know about. As I was listening, I got more agitated with the host and other guests because every time Cinnamon would be in the middle of her thoughts, they would interject and then change paths of the topic, just interjected, leaving the previous point stranded. I hate that. That's why our shows be long. And that's why I sometimes when Karen's talking, y'all will see me like look away from the camera or the screen, because I'm literally in my brain going, don't interrupt, just let her finish her fucking sentence, just let her like just listen and shut the fuck up. That's my inner monologue at that time. And it's important though. I'd rather look awkward but it's working than for y'all to hear some jumbled ass like every time she says 3 sentences, here I go with a jag trying to get a joke off or make another point. I hate that shit. It's the worst.
Yeah, because then, like you say, it leaves the thought dropped, and then a lot of times because they've nipped it in the bud, a lot of people don't write, so they never get back and divert.
The Champs used to do that shit. When Neil Brennan had that show, The Champs, which I loved the show, but it was a mind fuck for my brain, because I would be like,
yeah, because that conversation
y'all didn't even finish the goddamn point,
and they would be something good or deeper. You would really want to hear that person's insight on it, but if they just stop and then we somewhere else,
or they just be trying to get a joke in so hard, and it's like, but you don't have to let the man talk. It's a good show anyway. It really says it really felt like 2 people who were good friends talking to another person they were only familiar with, and the familiar person was on the outside trying to get into the conversation. Maybe the rapid fire crosstalk is what they were going for, and I'm not familiar with the format, but I was annoyed. I stopped listening and said to myself, let me go to an informative and funny space where they have some manners. Anyway, no shade to that person. It really isn't a whole big deal. Everyone involved seem to be fine with everything and they like it. I guess I love it. Really, this isn't even about that pie. I just wanted to give y'all flowers for being so good. Peace. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And lastly, John writes in, Ken Drake. Good morning, Rod and Karen. Just wanted to add that I've been loving the Kendrick versus Drake recaps. I don't use Instagram or TikTok, so your clips have allowed me to enjoy some of the fun while also helping explain everything to my brain that has only a tiny familiarity with hip-hop. I love that Kendrick is so unabashed in his loathing of Crody. When you first started covering the early rounds, all I could think was he hates Drake the way Biden hates Trump, and I love that. I can relate. Agreed. Yeah, that's the thing about the Biden thing that I just don't think motherfuckers understand, bro. And it's why he has my vote, period.
He has
none of the other people hate Trump the way he does.
Yes. He looked like if by law I could do it, I'd fight your ass in the street. Like,
and the
whole
thing where they like, you need another message besides that. For who?
For what? For why?
You just not built like me. He had me at hating this nigga. I hate him as well.
Yes.
And unless some other motherfucker's gonna run instead of Trump, then maybe we have a discussion.
Yeah. We definitely not built the same. When he's like, I hate you and the horse you rode on, and if you hate him as much as I do, vote for me. Yes, bitch. Like I said, and the thing is, sometimes I feel like America's goddamn gaslighting me, because I was like, bitch, y'all don't remember this motherfucker being in office? Bitch, I do. Never again.
Yeah, he cussed at that man during the debate, man. I said, yeah, I knew he hated him. It's not just politics for him. I don't know if you ever saw that comedy Dazed and Confused, but there's a scene where a nerd decides to confront his bully at an outdoor keg party, never a good idea, by pouring beer on his head and sucker punching him, and then proceeds to get thrashed. As he stumbles away bloody and whimpering, he tries to assure himself, but I got in some good shots, right, to his consoling friends. That's what Drake's last song reminds me of. It was really a tie when you think about it, am I right? LOL. Karen, you keep making those bad puns. I love them. Your comedy style is just too sophisticated for some. Cheers, John. John, you're part of the problem. All right, y'all, that's it. Thanks for listening. We'll be back probably tomorrow. This is a long one, but you know maybe we'll take a day or two off so y'all can catch it all up. But until then, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah.